White Walker perpetuated offenses are considered especially heinous. In Westeros, four dedicated friends investigate and discuss these vicious episodes as members of an elite squad known as A Podcast Has No Name. Okay, so first off, thanks for having the time, Eve.
Of course, man.
This
Of
has
course.
been a conversation that I've been waiting to have with you and our squad for quite some time.
Yes, sir.
Ever since we heard James Gunn was taking over DC. Ever since. And I go back and watch that clip. Ah, it's just like a James Gunn all over the place. Uh, and I gotta admit, um, first off, Peacemaker has always been a hit for me. I've fucking loved Peacemaker. Uh, and thanks to you, I was able to come to grips with the version of Superman that I love just being another Batman, which is just par for the course for me.
Yeah.
I'm not. I love some of what Zack Snyder does. I am not one of these diehard Snyder zealots that I see people cracking jokes on threads all the time.
Right.
I can clearly see when he's screwing the pooch, and that what was it Rebel Moon? Oh my
Yeah.
God! Wow, that was a lot of money for terrible films. Like, and they're
Yeah.
dumb long.
I know. And I was watching them thinking, okay, well, that's the first half. There's a lot of ground to cover, right? So maybe the second half will be more complete. Nope. And those movies did this weird thing where they'd be like, it just assumed, I think, because we know the formula of the Seven Samurai and Magnificent Seven and all that, that we would just fill in the blanks mentally that, oh,
Yeah,
these people know each other. They would die
right,
for one another.
right,
Right. But it just kind of was like you have a moment between two characters the second time you ever see them on screen together, and they'll be like, I'll going into battle with you, brother, and like shaking hands like they've been, just like
right.
on this road together. And I think that was honestly my problem with Man of Steel and
Mm,
everything. It was like this assumed idea that well, it's Superman. He's probably saving people off screen or whatever.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah.
And then he lets his dad die. So it's also that.
Bro, I gotta tell you real quick. My friend sent me the funniest. I can't remember if I sent this to you or not. Forgive me if I did, but
uh,
it was like if Zack Snyder had directed Superman 2025, and it was that scene in the movie. Spoilers. I mean, it comes out on DVD in a week, so
right. Yeah.
as of this recording.
Yeah. If you
Uh,
haven't seen it, you shouldn't be listening. But go
yeah, when they're evacuating the city, and because that dimension is opening up and it's cracking all the way through, and
right.
there's the building is about to fall on the bridge, and there's that one last woman
In the
in
car.
her car,
Hmm.
and he saves her just in time, right? Like stops the building from falling on her. In this video, if Zack Snyder had directed it, it's just the building falling on the car and then Superman in the rubble, like aura farming, like in the dust cloud afterward. And I was like, yep. Like it just cut out the part where he saves her and he's just looking cool and amidst the destruction. And I was like, God, that's perfect. That's perfect.
Yeah, for sure. Dead on. Damn. No, you did not send that to me.
I'll try to find it and get it to you. It's great.
So yeah, having the DC EU in the condition that it was in, and then James Gunn having the record of what he did over at Marvel, just like I loved all that shit over there. Then again, of course, Peacemaker and the Suicide Squad movie. I felt like, okay, I think this might work. I think this might work. I was pleasantly surprised. I was pleasantly surprised, just like as a first overall watch. I remember me and my homie Alex went to go see it, and he was like, "That shit was dope," and I was like, "It was good." And it was the first time that I was just like completely. I wasn't completely overwhelmed, um,
Hmm.
but it felt good to be in a different place with Superman
Yeah.
than I've been with Superman. Like this, the world that he was in, and the vibes and just the overall his whole perspective felt more traditional. And I feel like I hadn't seen that in a very long time done
Hmm.
well on the big screen.
Right.
Thanks to you, I did watch what was the CW show?
Oh, Superman and Lois. Yeah.
Jesus. That's a very underrated show.
Yes, they get it right. They really do. I mean, it is full of like the CW melodrama
Yeah,
because they
sure.
don't have the budget to do superhero stuff all the time, you know. So you get some angsty kids and some like, just kind of annoying dynamics
Who the
sometimes.
teenage
But
you gotta have him in there. Yeah.
yeah, but anytime Superman's on screen, like it's right, you
Oh,
know.
so good.
Yeah,
That was so good.
especially those flashbacks where it's like early days, where he's fighting that Nazi guy
Oh
or
yeah. Yeah.
yeah, like yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. There was a particular scene, and I'll wait till we get a little bit further into it. There was a particular scene where it was just like, James, you just had to gun it here, huh? You just had to. You could have not done this really simple thing, and I would have enjoyed this so
I
much more.
already know exactly what it is with I'm curious to if I'm right, if I have the right guess. I don't know if you want to get into it now or later. We can wait.
Wait.
Yeah, yeah.
So, what was like your overall reaction leading? You're seeing it? Did you watch any trailers? I can't remember if we shared
I
trailers.
watched every trailer.
Okay.
I sometimes I will absolutely not inundate myself. I just want to go in fresh.
Yeah.
I this one I had so many people sending me stuff that it was either like come off rude to my friends or just watch the shit. So I just watched
Gotcha.
it.
Gotcha.
You know. Um, I saw it on like that opening Thursday with two of my closest friends and my wife, and it was a good theater experience. I
Nice.
haven't seen a ton of movies since COVID. I mean, I think I told you I stopped going to movies in like 2019 because I
Oh
just
yeah.
couldn't stand other people anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I went in. It was a good experience. I I left going. That was fun. Like I enjoyed myself.
Yeah.
Uh, I remember saying to my friends, could have used a little bit more Superman in it. But we can get to that. But yeah, like first impression was like that was good.
Right.
I felt like one of my concerns, and I think we talked about this when we first started talking about this movie, however long ago that was. But I was worried that it was going to be overstuffed
Yeah,
because
you did say
it
that.
had so many characters, and I do think it suffered from that. I do think it was overstuffed.
Mm.
I think Lex Luthor on his own, him and his goons, it was like 10 people deep
Yeah,
and they all
very
had at
true.
least one line, right? And
Yeah.
then like some of them were integral to the plot. And then you had the Daily Planet staff of like 6 to 8 people that all had little
True.
moments.
Okay. Good
You
point.
had the Justice Gang, which was like four deep. Once you add Metamorpho, you got the
Hmm.
fucking falafel vendor. You got,
Yeah.
it was just like
Yeah.
it was so many people, and I really felt like what I want out of a Superman movie is just like a Batman Begins or like a Lord
Mm.
of the Rings, like something that it's kind of timeless and it's just kind of this I know the word epic is overused, but it feels like an epic tale of Superman,
Yeah.
right? And I think James Gunn makes a lot of content worthy movie
Mm.
stuff, right? A lot
Mm.
of stuff that's going to get clipped out and it feels like he's got the internet in his head when he's doing this stuff, you know what I mean?
I feel you.
Um, so here's the thing, and I was talking to a friend about this, and we kind of landed on this idea that like I was saying, James Gunn, you watch his movies, and it's like you went to a restaurant and they just filled you up on a bunch of appetizers,
Mm.
right? And you're eating them like, this is good. This tastes great. Oh my God, you try that one? That's so good, right?
Mm.
And then you leave full with your stomach full, but you didn't have a full
Didn't
meal.
have a
Like it
meal.
wasn't like, yeah, it wasn't three courses. It wasn't well rounded. It didn't have nutritional value. It just tasted really good
Yeah.
as you were eating it.
Yeah.
And I think that that is the problem with his stuff is that it's like it felt like a bunch of collective moments that didn't quite add up to like a fully cohesive or like interesting story. Like he opened a lot of doors he couldn't walk through, right?
Mm.
Like the movie starts telling you like 3 years, 33 years,
Right.
300 years, whatever,
Yeah.
right?
Three
And
hours,
it's like,
3 minutes. Yeah.
right. And you're like, okay, that's interesting. And then it completely abandons that like immediately. And it says, this is the first time Superman's ever lost a fight.
Mm.
And I'm like, here we go. we're going to learn about what this means for Superman, what this does to his self-confidence, what it does to
Right.
his standing in the world, how people view him. And it didn't
You
do any of that. He just went and got his ass beat again, and then he went to work. You know?
Facts. Do you
So,
think that approach would have worked as far as like, and I hear what you're saying completely with so many characters, just like it's like you
yeah,
just introduced the entire everything to us. Um, and I guess in some ways that would be like picking up a Superman book in the middle of a run,
sure.
and you got to familiarize yourself with the characters. Do you think that approach would have worked maybe gradually over, the second or third film, having that many characters, like stretching that out?
I think for my personal taste,
Hmm.
you can do that. I don't I to me it seems like a way to cover up that you don't know how to like fully write like
Mm,
a story that is gonna invest you in the main characters. You know what I
got you.
mean?
Got you.
Like Superman was like for the first third of that movie, like I mean you or I guess maybe the first half, like it's not like he gets put in prison for like
Yeah.
30 minutes.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
he's just laying on the ground for like a third of almost of the movie. I mean, like a significant amount of time. I don't know the exact minutes, but like,
Hmm.
I think James Gunn understands the character of Superman very well. I think this was the best live action big screen depiction of the character I think we've seen since Superman 4: The Quest for Peace, one of the greatest Superman stories ever committed to film. Uh, so I really liked, he felt human, right? He felt relatable. He wasn't this guy who's like so perfect that he's too good. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he figured
Yeah.
out how to humanize him. But yeah, I just think that like anytime it started to get interesting in that way, fart joke,
Yeah. This makes
and that's
sense.
James Gunn thing. He can't sit around in like a serious moment. I thought the scene between Lois and Clark, the interview, like in the first,
Yeah. That was
30
solid.
minutes or
I
whatever,
like that.
it was so good, man. It was
Yeah.
so good. So
That
well
was dope.
acted and very realistic. I mean, I've
Hmm.
had arguments like that with significant others where I felt like him and they came off like her and
Right.
you know and yeah, I mean, I think it's just like he's a guy who thinks a lot of stuff sounds cool. I'm gonna put that in, but it's like he never went 100% with any of it. How cool would it have been to see Superman actually stop that war instead of just telling us about it?
Right. Right.
You know?
Even if it was just like a flashback or something.
Right. A couple of
Yeah.
little cutscenes, interstitials with the
The
conversation he and Lois
conversation.
are having,
Yeah.
you know?
Huh. Well,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, a lot of stuff like that for me.
yeah. Now that I'm thinking about everything James has done so far in the DC, what you're saying, I'm seeing that through line. Like every single project is pretty much a delivery system for the entire universe that he's developing. Like every single project, we're getting a multitude of characters. We're getting crossovers. Like first season of Peacemaker ends with the Justice League. Um, Peacemaker is in Superman. We got all the characters that were introduced in Suicide Squad. And then the crossovers that are also happening in the cartoon. I did not think about it until you just said it. There isn't a single thing that he's done so far where we're singularly focused on the main character.
Yeah, and Guardians of the Galaxy is a team
Yeah,
movie too,
yeah.
you know? And I mean, I think that's his comfort zone, and I think he
Hmm.
handles the group dynamics well, but there's just too many cooks in the kitchen in that
Yeah.
regard. Like you don't get to spend enough time with any one person, you know? So yeah, that's my issue. I don't think necessarily you can't have a bunch of characters in a movie, but I think that he's just not maybe a deep enough like storyteller to
Mm,
make having all of them matter. Everybody
yeah.
gets a surface little moment, like Hawk Girl gets to scream at some people and then she kills the bad guy.
Right.
Green Lantern like finally gets somebody to think his name is cool as a
Right.
group
Right.
name. Like that's not really like an arc. Like it's just kind of a little like anecdotal thing that you can, have a two panel meme of like, you have to like the name. Oh, I think the name's cool.
Right.
Like
You're in.
yeah, exactly. So, and I haven't seen Peacemaker.
Oh, okay.
I like the Guardians movies, for the most part. The third one was kind of iffy for me, but I really like the second one.
The third
Um,
one, I love the third one primarily because I felt like that was the first time, one of the few times we got a villain in Marvel that was just heinously evil without
Yeah,
I'm just an evil person.
just a bad guy.
It's
Yeah,
just he's just a fucking bad guy. That's it.
yeah,
It's not we don't
yeah.
have to understand his motivations or there's some soft spot or some trauma. No, he's just a
He had a
fucking
hard
bad
life.
guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
None he's just a fucking bad guy. And
yeah,
anybody could get it. And it was like, I like this guy.
yeah.
I like the high
I,
evolution.
you know, the thing about that one too for me is like, I feel like the animal stuff is really low hanging fruit.
Yeah,
You know, it's just
yeah,
easy emotional trigger stuff. And
yeah.
I personally, animals are a big deal. Like I'm vegetarian. You know, I like my dogs are my children. You know,
Right,
like
right.
so I'm a mark for that, and I recognize that. But then he'll do something like, oh, now we're going to a world where everything is like mid-century modern, and people have rat faces or whatever, and
That
it's
was
just
too
like,
much. That
come
was too
on,
much.
dude. Like, and
Yeah.
and and this is my overall problem with the way these movies are made because we just talked about the Snyder stuff,
Mm,
right? These executives have no fucking idea what anything is, right?
yeah.
They're all just so rich and oblivious to the world. And then they get one guy who goes, this guy knows how, he made 300 and that they figured that, that movie did well. So put him in charge of all of it.
Right.
And then we get stuck with that one guy's vision for a decade or whatever, right?
Mm,
And same thing with James Gunn, right? Like now we just have like the goofy, non-deep version of it for however long
however
it's
long.
profitable.
Yeah.
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 And nobody reins in their sensibilities. Like they go, fuck, the guy who made us $1 billion wants to put rat people in the movie, give him rat
Let him
people,
rock.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. Yeah. The whispers about Robert Pattinson's Batman crossing over uh into the main universe. Um I get tremors every single time. This is the thing I want to happen the least. I do not want that.
yeah, I know that Matt Reeves has been pretty adamant that it's not going to happen, and James
Okay,
Gunn
yeah.
has been like, "That's his thing. If he doesn't want it to, we're not going to make him."
Please no. Please no. Penguin
I,
was
d-
great.
I there it's so different. I don't think that,
Completely. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like
And I'm
people
not
are
even really a
calling
fan of
for it.
that movie, like
Okay.
yeah, so uh, to me it'd be like, oh, well, okay, whatever. But
Yeah. Yeah.
but I'm with you. I think it would not be two great tastes that go great together.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
Especially when they're talking about the Batman that we're supposed to be getting in the main universe is Batman Brave and the Bold. We got Damian in there like, yeah, let's just do that. Let's do that. There's absolutely no reason for the universes to cross over. I don't need that at all. No, please.
And how nice would it be to do something different with Batman for a
Right.
change, right?
Right.
I mean, the Batman, the Pattinson one, it was it just rehashed stuff from all the other movies pretty much
Mm,
and like the comics. And I know the comics are the source material, but like
sure.
it's so interesting that people make these things, and I say this as a comic book writer and artist, like people make this thing that for pennies compared to what these movies cost. And
Yeah.
then they hire some guy and pay him millions of dollars and pay the actor millions of dollars to be in it. And they're just sort of like watering down like a cheap comic book. Like you could this is a $20 graphic novel at Borders or whatever,
Right.
Barnes and Noble,
Right.
like so it's wild to me that these guys get the keys to the kingdom when it's like they're not even doing anything new. I mean, the Batman also felt like a collection to me of just like
Mm.
random bullshit that didn't really like the whole scene where he chases down the penguin and causes like a
Oh
28
yeah.
car pile up. Like no
Yeah.
joke, I counted it one day. It was over 10 cars, I want to say. And
It was a Brockheimer pile up.
yeah, exactly, right? And the scene looked cool. Like the movie's beautifully
Oh
shot, but
yeah. Oh
like
yeah. Certainly.
you remember in Batman Begins, like the Tumblr chase scene, he's flattening cop cars on the evening news or whatever,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
like he's trying to save Rachel's life. Like
Yeah.
she's dying, and
Yeah.
he's Rachel, right? He's got a ticking clock. In the Batman, he just wants to talk to the Penguin.
That's it.
Motherfucker, you know where he works. You're gonna go there in an hour. We're gonna see it. Just go to his job. Like you needed it, and they catch him, and he's like, I didn't do nothing. You don't know how to read a riddle. And they're like, oh, fuck. Right. So it was just completely pointless. Like, Like, and I'm just imagining like the people's insurance claims that they have to
Oh my
file, and
God.
like the companies are trying to fuck them up. Well, technically, this was a vigilante caused collision. We
Right.
have no,
And you
it's
don't
not
have
covered
that.
under your exactly. You
Yeah.
don't have the vigilante coverage, you know? It just, yeah, man. I think that we've completely lost like the plot on all,
Yeah. I think the
you
first
know?
time I ever considered the damage that Batman does to Gotham in the pursuit of fighting crime. I think it was in a book, and he had the Tumbler like going over rooftops and shit, just like tearing up roofs and shit. And I was like, holy shit. Like that is tons of fucking damage. Good grief. This is just so you can get from one point to the next. Like he wasn't even necessarily
You're
trailing
not helping,
anybody.
man. Yeah.
It's like, oh
Or
God.
like in Batman vs Superman, right? He puts he uses like the homing beacon thing on the truck that's
Yeah.
carrying the kryptonite, and then he chases them and kills all of them. Like, just wait for it to get where it's
You know where
going,
it's
and then
going
drop a pin, dude. What like?
because you later broke into where it ended up and got it anyway. So,
Yeah, it's not. It's not. Calm down, dude. Calm down. You know.
well, you
My
know
goodness.
what? I'm going to push back because I don't like it when he's calm. All right. Okay. There's something
Uh,
in me that, wants
yeah.
this angry, destructive Batman who's part Wolverine, who's part Punisher. Just give me these
I
guys.
mean, that warehouse scene in BVS, love it.
Jesus.
Love it. It's great. You
Amazing.
know. Yeah.
Amazing. Okay. So we're getting
Anyway, yeah.
derailed.
Sorry.
That's
Yeah.
that's definitely me. I'm going to do this every single time.
I don't
How
know,
do you,
man. That's a me and you episode, bro.
yeah. Okay. Fair enough. I'm glad to share that.
Yeah.
How do you feel how do you feel about this Clark? How do you like this Clark?
Like specifically Clark.
Yeah.
I think that was the most underutilized aspect of the movie.
Mm.
I don't know if you've seen these little like Instagram reel promo clips and stuff that they've done. The acting that
Oh,
this
I've seen
guy
some
does
of
as
them,
Clark
yeah.
Kent is fucking brilliant, man. Like
Mm.
there's one where they do one of those like, what are you listening to when he's got his headphones in and he's like, oh, Mighty Crab Joys or whatever their little thing is.
Right. That's what they're
And then
called.
he yeah, and then he gets off the elevator and then he like stops and goes to make sure he's on the right floor and kind of gives himself a little like, yep, that's right, and like walks on. And it's so natural and so believable. Or like there was one of him kind of sitting at his desk, kind of like, making faces as he's looking at the computer, kind of squinting and like doing like kind of duck lips as he's like, just very natural, like kind of nerdy sort of
Right.
affectations. And like, there's the little thing where he's like spinning around and it turns into Superman. He's Clark and he's dropping papers and kind of like has this
Mm.
like the humble little smile, like this happened again. And it doesn't look like a guy who's doing it on purpose. It looks
Gotcha.
like he's, there's this thing with people who are like neurodivergent where they mask, right? They
Yeah.
have to pretend to be quote normal, right? To me, he's playing it like a guy who is just when he's Superman, he's masking because he's trying to be an example. But when he's Clark, he just gets to be himself and he's going to drop some
Yeah.
papers and shit,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. I do love that. This Clark definitely felt like this is Clark. This is who he is.
Yeah.
This is Superman's who he has to show up to be sometimes. And I feel
Right.
like that's usually the reverse, as it's
Yeah.
portrayed. Yeah. Yeah. I love
Yeah.
this
And,
version of Clark.
and, it's really unfortunate we didn't get to see more of him as Clark in that movie. We just got the one scene at the Daily Planet in the beginning,
Hmm.
and yeah, I just after seeing those clips, I was like, oh, we got robbed. That this would have
Yeah.
been really fun to watch.
And unfortunately, I'm not sure if we're gonna have opportunities to get more Clark moving forward, right? It really does seem like the way James is moving right now, I have to get this huge entire universe introduced, get all these big characters popped off, make sure that the investors and stakeholders see the numbers they need to see. And in order for me to do that, I got to get to end game. I got to get to an end game real quick.
Right.
So I think as much I don't know. I don't know where we're going to get opportunities to see more Clark. Like I'm looking forward to the Green Lantern show because they're saying that's going to be, more down to earth and grounded. So yeah, now we can get some of that interpersonal shit, which I think would be great from a superhero show.
Yeah.
Like we got
And
with Watchmen.
Yeah, absolutely. And my favorite moments in some of these movies and stories are when they are their secret identity, but they have to do something heroic without giving away who they are, right?
Yeah.
And in the last Batman movie, we didn't get any of that. In this Superman movie, we didn't get any of that.
Mm,
And I think, it's like, why have the alter ego then? Like, why even
mm,
show it? Why even do it if it's not to protect themselves or their family or the people they care about? I
mm.
mean, Bruce Wayne getting a bomb in the mail and Alfred getting injured by it was kind of happenstance because Bruce happens to be a rich kid and the
Yeah.
Riddler was anti-rich kid or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like, but you don't see any like you remember in The Dark Knight when that guy's like, I'm gonna dox Batman. I'm gonna tell everybody who he
Oh
is,
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and Bruce Wayne intercepts with his Lamborghini to like
Yeah.
stop the truck from
Yep.
ramming the thing.
Yep.
And Gordon's like, "That was brave what you did." And he's like, "What? Trying to catch the light?" And
Right.
then he's like, "You didn't do that on purpose." He's like, "Why? Who's in it?" And then you see the guy look at him, and
And
Christian
they
Bale,
lock.
who's the master of this, just does that little imperceptible nod,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
and it's just like that is what I'm talking about. That's what I want to see. Like you want to get nuts, let's get nuts, and then he has the fucking
Yeah.
serving tray in his shirt. Like moments like that where you're showing me that this character is this person
No
in
matter
and out
what.
of costume. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. I think we got like a tiny version of that in the Batman when Bruce saved the
Oh,
kid.
at the funeral he saves the kid.
Yeah.
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 But
Yeah.
yeah, I want to see more duality, like,
Yeah.
and like the conflict that causes, like when and begins when Bruce runs into Rachel and he's just looking like he's being an idiot with these girls
Right.
swimming in the hotel fountain, like that sucks for
Honest.
him. And it's just like that you see that him paying that price, that cost of
Yeah.
leading the double life.
Yeah.
So yeah, I felt that was missing from this for sure.
So as far as Superman, do you feel like we finally got like, the core values that have been missing on, big screen portrayal for so long? How do you feel about this version of Supes?
I love that. I mean, when he saved that squirrel, like that was
Yeah.
that
That
was huge for me.
that and also just him going back and forth with the Justice Gang and trying not to kill the kaiju. And he's like,
Yes.
come on, man. Like,
Yeah.
go easy, guys. Go
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah. And as a guy who drove across town trying to save a squirrel that my dog got,
No.
I related to that. Like it was like, because I feel that way. It's like and especially with animals because they can't defend themselves. They
No.
can't
No.
articulate their. So I loved that. I really thought that you know, like the scene when he's in his apartment and Lois is there and she makes him the hot chocolate and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
man, in my area, I'm like the designated animal saver. Like my
Mm.
neighbors are pieces of shit and their dogs get loose all the time
Oh,
and they'll be at work and I'm helping animal control wrangle them and I'm trying to catch them. I'm taking time out of my day. So for
jeez.
him to be out looking for crypto like
Yeah.
that and endangering himself to do that, like I felt that shit,
Yeah.
like that's so real to me. And like the way he just said, she says something kind of like, "Is this your fight?" And he's like, yeah, I got Crypto's out there and he's alone. He's probably scared. Like
Yeah.
that's the moment where I choked up because I was
Yeah. That
like,
was whew.
he cares that the dog is scared.
Right.
That's Superman.
Right.
Like it's not this like I'm such a goody goody. It's his empathy.
Right. Right. It's not that he cares as much because he's an alien and he's got these powers. He just fucking cares. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, that when he said that, I was like, oh man, that's a good point. Crypto probably is scared right now. You have no idea
And
where he is.
so okay, on that subject, how did you feel about the Kents in this movie?
I like the Kents. Um, they did feel. I'm not sure if they were too hokey or maybe I've just never seen a version of them that were this hokey.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if I did. I liked them. I
You
did like them.
you know yeah, interesting bit about that I saw. There's a guy who somehow affiliated with Howard Stern. He's like on the show a lot or
Okay.
something. he's from Kansas, and his parents talk like that, and
Oh,
James Gunn knows him somehow, and so he had that guy record his parents, or his parents
shut
send them.
up.
So they were basically doing impressions of this guy's parents as like this, because James Gunn is from like Missouri, I think, St. Louis
Okay.
maybe. So he's sort of from that general area, and I think that he was really trying to get that authenticity. I don't know anybody like that from that part of the country,
Mhm.
so I wasn't sure how real it was, and then I saw that, and I was like, oh shit. But I'll tell you what, this is the first time the Kents ever made me feel like people who would raise that guy,
Yeah.
you know? Like
Yeah.
they didn't feel like shitty MAGA Republicans to me, like
Yeah.
who would just be like, they felt like the type of people who, because their house was kind of shitty,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
they had like ugly old brown carpet that has probably never been changed since the house was built in the 70s or whatever, like, oh, so many times you see the Kent house and it's this like palatial Norman Rockwell
Yeah.
fucking like
You guys are some really
farmhouse.
successful farmers that you
Right,
know.
exactly.
Yeah.
These people look like they know struggle, and like they've
Yes.
had to make some protracted
Hard
meals.
choices. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Yeah.
so I
Monsanto's
really
owns half of their land, basically.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So I really appreciated that, and I'm sure a lot of that is what I bring to it baggage wise or when I'm reading into
Mm,
it. But it really did feel like these were people who would, no matter who you are or what they don't have, they'll take you in and give you the shirt off their back or whatever.
yeah.
So I really appreciated that. And I also like that they weren't like conventionally like quote hot, like it
Yeah.
wasn't Diane Lane and Kevin Costner. It was just like
Right.
two normal ass looking people.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah,
So
because like if you don't know struggle, how are you gonna grow up to be like a good person on the level that Superman needs to be? You know
and
what I
he
mean?
definitely
Like,
needs to be. He definitely
yes.
needs to be. Like just again, you bringing up the squirrel. Um, there was the other scene with him saving the dog from the kaiju. Like his
Yeah.
priorities, his priorities. Like, look, I want the least amount of pain and suffering to happen around me. Period. Um, in that conversation with Lois when they're arguing, and he was like, he gets to the point where it's like, how are we even talking about this? He was going to kill people. End of discussion.
Yeah. It's simple, right? It's
Yeah.
just that simple.
It's just people are going to get killed. What am I supposed to do? I understand
Yeah.
there's laws and all this shit you guys got in place, but people were going to get killed. I have the ability to stop people from getting killed. How are we still talking about this shit?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But then we end up seeing some of the real world consequences of as orchestrated as it was, but just the type of behavior that, superheroes can just have. Politics be damned. Okay. So definitely want to jump into some of your favorite parts of the movie. Before we do that, though, let's get this point of contention out the way.
Uh-oh.
So, what is the scene that you think I'm thinking about where I'm like, God damn it, James?
I think when the scene we're talking about where they're in his apartment and they're having this deep connection thing and it's the I love you too moments, and then you got the Justice Gang in the background fighting a fifth dimensional imp.
Okay, so that wasn't the scene. But
Okay,
I
okay.
actually, I actually, I actually love that because for me, it answered the question of whenever we have these superhero films, how come such and such didn't show up? He's literally
Right.
like, they don't fucking need me, so I'm
Yeah.
not just
Yeah.
gonna.
I did like that aspect of it for
Yeah,
sure. I
it's like
think
you know.
I think the problem is that anytime there's a moment in this movie when like the scene where
Mm.
I hurt, I get up and I put my one foot in front of the other, I'm human, and then Crypto fucking ragdolls next to her.
I see what you're saying.
Like
Yeah,
he
yeah,
can't let it be a
a
moment.
serious moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, that actually leads into the scene I have an issue with. It's the Mr. Terrific fight when he gets to the base camp.
Hmm.
This just could have been a really super fucking awesome 1-on-20 fight. And then you give me this music that turns
Yeah, yeah,
into a
yeah.
scene from Guardians of the fucking Galaxy.
That's what. Hey, you go back 2 years to or whenever that was when we had our little thing, and we
Yep.
said it's gonna be fucking Hall and Oates starts playing as something cool happens.
I was like,
Yeah,
wait, why? Like, dude, literally everything else that happened in that scene, it was a great fight scene. It was
It's
dope.
one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie for
Yeah.
sure.
We get
Like
a full
visually.
understanding of his capabilities. Like he didn't break a fucking sweat in doing that shit.
Yeah.
Why couldn't that have been serious? Why did we need
Yeah.
that music? It's like, dude, as soon as it happened in the film, I thought about you. I was like, it's really, here it is.
Yeah.
Talking even about this shit.
Yes. And I have to say I am surprised because I thought it was going to be, now that's what I call music, volume Superman. You know what I mean? Like, but there were only like two, three songs in the movie,
Yeah,
like in a 2.5 hour runtime. Like, that's very restrained for him, you
yeah,
know?
that's true. That's very true. He likes to do a mixtape every single time.
Yeah.
It's definitely his deal. Um, Overall, how'd you feel about the plot?
Okay. So this is the thing. I saw it twice in the theater, right?
Okay, nice.
First time I saw it, I was like, that was a fucking mess. The second time I saw it, because I knew where it was going, it felt more cohesive to me. Like I feel like I was able to see
Okay.
how all the moving parts converged, but I still think it was way overstuffed. It had way too much going on, and it just detracted from the overall impact, I think, of the story because it's
Mhm.
like you're just like left and right, looking here, looking there, like what's going on? What are they doing? Who's these people? Like
Yeah.
I didn't like that. I thought the whole Jimmy Olsen subplot was stupid. Like it was kind of misogynistic, and I know that was the
Oh,
point that he like
definitely. Hmm.
his arc is to overcome that or whatever. But it's just kind of like she was still party to like all this terrible stuff that was happening, and it's only because she was like, spurned by him as a partner or lover or whatever that
Hmm.
she was like, okay, I guess I'll do the right thing now.
Right.
And like that, it's not unrealistic to think that like somebody like her who's in the room for everything could be the one to
Topple it.
turn state's witness and yeah, but like
Hmm.
it just felt like for a superhero movie that's a little like it, and it kind of kept the journalists from actually
Mm.
doing real journalism. It was just kind of like gifted to them, like
Yeah. Yeah.
so it just happenstance that we're told that Jimmy Olsen is this Lothario, which is like a suspension of disbelief we have to pull
Right.
all on our own. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
Jimmy of all people. Yeah.
yeah. So I felt like plot wise, it was kind of interesting too because there were a lot of like concentric circles with Man of Steel.
Mm.
This
Mm.
this this Kryptonian mission he's
Right.
supposedly given to like spread his seed, and the idea that like yeah, like there's a dimensional rift that you have to put the bad guys into,
Hmm.
the Phantom Zone
Phantom
in
Zone.
Man of
Yep.
Steel, right?
Yep.
The bad guy being created by a strand of Superman's hair left at
Hmm.
a thing, which is the whole bad guy in Superman 4 was from
Yep.
that, like
Yep.
so it didn't
Nightmare
really
Man.
tread any new ground. And the area that I was most interested in was how does Superman react after losing his first fight?
Yeah.
And what does he do with this war situation? And those were both just like kind of thrown away or solved off screen or sort of like by putting the other guys on the case.
Hmm.
So I didn't feel super satisfied story wise coming out of this thing because it just really didn't, hit those marks.
How did you feel about, because for me, when this happened the first time I watched it, I was like, okay, that's kind of unbelievable. And I understand the power of social media and the 24-hour news cycle, and people get new information, and it just changes. It has the ability to change their perspective. But Superman's been active for 3 years now. At this point, he is constantly saving people, and then some shit pops up on the news that says he's here to destroy the
Yeah.
planet or take over the planet, and then all that, like on a dime, the entire
Like
world just like,
these people he just saved from squishing, from being
right,
squished by a kaiju are like, fuck that guy. Like immediately.
immediately. I was
Yeah.
like, no, like that's it. It just needs to be one post on Instagram, just like one story goes out. That's it. Lex does one interview, and then all of this man's work for the last 3 years, actively saving people. Just like,
Yeah.
I guess he sucks and wants to have this harem. That's like, yeah,
Which
that is.
that, by the way, isn't, as a Middle Eastern person, like I'm like, a friend of mine reminded me of this, that like that word actually refers to not it's sort of like the women's space in the
Mm,
culture, it's kind of like, because a lot of times men and women are separated for like propriety reasons, right?
right,
Like if you're at a family, gathering with the community, like the men will be on one side, women will be on another. That,
right,
that's an archaic thing that I don't agree with, but like the harem is what you call where like the women are chilling at. It's not like a thing for all the men to, so that a friend of
interesting.
mine, it rubbed them the wrong way. It didn't strike for me the same way because I didn't really like know that, like I somewhere back there I do that, but
Mm,
but my thing with that is I think if you had done a thing where Superman lost his first fight, and that plants the seed of people doubting him,
right.
and then you go, also this other thing happened. Now we have a 1-2 punch where you've seeded that idea.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
again, because he doesn't sit long enough in anything or develop anything, he just has to bounce from one appetizer to another. And then
yeah,
this one, and then you just get one that has grapefruit in and it tastes bitter, and you're like, oh, you know, like that changed quickly.
yeah, yeah,
So, yeah,
yeah. When that happened, I was just like, I can't imagine myself being in a world where there's a superhero that's just been, doing great for so long, and then one story changes my perspective, and I was like, you said, it's like, fuck this guy. I'm like, that, this doesn't really work for me. But okay, James, let's see
yeah.
what else you got going on there.
I think that was him probably exercising a bit of his like, I got canceled. I saved you all with Guardians of the Galaxy, 2 times, and then you
Uh,
all turned on me because of some old shit I said, right? Which wasn't even, that was clearly just like the chuds doing their thing, which
yeah,
I think is so funny, by the way, because a lot of those people, I think there's probably a lot of crossover between that and like the Snyder Bros,
yeah. Oh, absolutely.
and
Yeah.
it's like, well, now look what you did. Now you're stuck with him because you got him fired so that Warner Brothers hired him to make Suicide Squad, and they were so happy with it, they
Yep.
said, you know what,
We'll keep
you can
them.
do all of it now, and they're just like, losing their minds over it. So I think that's hilarious.
Yeah, for sure. What do you think about Lex?
I really like Nicholas Hoult as an actor.
Yeah. Okay.
I thought he did a great job with the material he was given. I like a nuanced Lex Luthor. I like when he is, there's a book called, it came out, it was called Lex Luthor Man of Steel. And eventually they just changed the name to Luthor, right? And it's sort of like the whole thing from Luthor's perspective. And that book
Okay.
inspired a lot of BVS with some of the stuff in it. And um, they paint him as this ruthless businessman, but like there's a scene where the guy who cleans his office comes in and he's talking to him and he's like, how are you, Mr. Luthor? He's like, I told you, Stan, call me Lex.
Mm,
And he's like, because he's supposed to be from what do they call it? The slums. I can't remember the name of it in
okay.
Suicide Slums, I think, in the DC universe, right?
Yeah,
He's
that
from
sounds
the
familiar.
bad neighborhood, right? Yeah, and so he's asking this guy, "How's your son?" He said, "Oh, he's not doing too well in school. He's cutting class." And Lex is like, the whole thing is like the plot of this book is they're going to be unveiling this science spire that
Mm.
Lex is erecting in the middle of the city, and it's going to be this beacon of this and that. And actually, the stuff where Lex is calling out like D3 and is
Yeah,
punching him in
yeah,
the
yeah.
face in the movie, that's kind of inspired by this book as well because they
Oh, wow.
create this character who's like this android that Lex is like,
Calling out chess moves too and shit.
exactly, and she's like supposed to be this like rival of Superman, to like she's here to help, but then secretly like she's a plant so he can take him down, whatever. So Lex is talking to this janitor and he's like, yeah, my son's cutting school, and he said, well, I'm the top donor of this some kind of academy, whatever. He's like, I'll see about getting him in there, right? He's like, oh, thanks, Mr. Luthor, that'd be amazing, right? So then that guy leaves, and Mercy or whatever, his assistant walks in and
Hmm.
he's like, hey, call the dean of that school and tell him we have a student for them. And she's like, Lex, all of the students have been selected already, and he's just like, tell them I consider it a personal favor,
Oh
you
shit.
know. So it's like he does like ruthless shit that like
Yeah.
hurts other people, but he also is kind of like there's this sort of gray area where like he did something cool for this person, but then the rug gets pulled out, and I just
Yeah.
I think again, if you had six, seven less people around him, you could have those moments, you
True.
know.
True.
So yeah, that's kind of my feel. What did you think of him?
I felt to that point specifically, I felt like the only moment where there was like a modicum of concern for anyone outside of himself was the engineer. And
Hmm.
when they were on the way to crash back down, and he was like, "You're not going to survive this." Well, she said she wasn't going to survive it, and he's like, "Uncheat, like get off of him." Then part of me was like, "Wow, does he care about her, or does he care about the tech?" But in any event, it
Yeah,
was like
yeah,
a moment. I was like, "Oh shit," a little bit of concern for at least someone else for a split second. I too, I love Nicholas Hoult. I think he's dope. I like this younger Lex. I like this tech bro feeling Lex
yeah,
for sure. Just feels really relevant. And I'm excited because they've already announced the second film. I think they've
yeah.
already
And
said,
I think it's going to be like Midnight Run with the two of them or something,
yeah,
is
something
kind of
like
the
that.
vibe they're trying to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, I think that's going to be great. But yeah, overall, I like them. I like them. I definitely like them. I like how clear his motivations were, and to me, that felt really, really spot on for Lex Luthor. Like, doesn't matter what else is going on. I am the smartest person in the room,
yeah,
point blank. The rest of you morons, I just need you to do what I'm telling you to do when I'm telling you to do it. I also liked his supporting cast in the way that it wasn't like a bunch of, okay, Mr. Luthor, a bunch of dumb stooges,
yeah.
like what we normally
I
get. Yeah, right.
hate that stuff in the old movies so much.
It was definitely like, okay, I'm the specialist of this department. I run this, da, 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 da. And everyone just seemed like they knew what the fuck they were doing. It looked like an actual company.
Yeah,
And these were trained individuals, and it was like, okay, boom, all right, all right. So I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that. It was funny when the portal opened, when they're opening the portal so they can escape, and he's like, "Listen, we'll close this, we'll close the rift down from the bunker." And one of the main henchmen's like, "All right, everybody, safety first." Like,
yeah,
get into a line. Get ready to get to the portal. I'm like, this is real shit. This is
yeah,
definitely. I can hear someone not working for like, all right, God, hey, safety first. Let's get this done. Let's go.
yeah.
Like,
They've done like drills,
right,
little
right,
practices of like, I'm your designated. Okay, everybody follow me.
right. This
Yeah,
is the Luther Corp that feels like it has an HR,
yeah,
and you don't normally get
yeah.
that.
No, I agree with you. I do think it's weird that he's gonna be featured in the sequel in a way that is like, I mean, Superman watched him shoot a guy in the fucking head, man.
That was crazy.
Like, I feel like that was too much. I don't
Do
think
you?
that should have. Yeah, just, I mean,
Okay.
like, he's already got all these people in prison. Like, he's a bad guy. Like, we
Yeah.
get it. But just to like shoot this guy, like, and then try to have any moments, whether it's in this movie or the next one, where Lex
Mm,
is like redeemed or working with Superman or anything, like,
that's gonna be
he
tough.
just killed a super innocent man,
Yeah. Yeah.
like. And I'm presuming if he's out of prison to be in a movie with Superman, he wasn't reformed. They need him because he's smart and he's going to do something to help, maybe fight Brainiac or whatever it is.
Yeah. I
And
think it
it's
is Brainiac.
just,
Yeah.
yeah. And I just feel like that's, but again, a lot of times I feel like James Gunn, with how shallow his stuff is, he's not thinking far ahead in that regard. I know he's plotting out the whole
Sure.
thing or whatever, but
But how is
it's
this
these
one
little things.
decision? Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, we saw that so many times with like the X-Men movies where they would feature a character and then they'd like completely just like, here's this character again. It's the same guy, but it's different. And forget
Right.
that last one. And you're just like, I'm not stupid though. Like we
Yeah. This
I
is a
watched
movie
that
from
movie.
Colossus. I was there for this shit. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Um. Shit. I forgot what I was gonna say. Ah. Totally slipped my mind. Crap. I guess I want to close out that conversation. and switch over to Fantastic Four. But now I can't remember what I was going to say. So we'll
All
just
good.
pivot. Hard segue. Hard segue.
Pivot.
So I watched Superman twice. I watched Fantastic Four once. Um, I gave them both on Letterboxd. I gave them both a 3.5. Uh, I was not expecting to love Fantastic Four because I don't love the comic. And I
Yeah.
think that Marvel has done a good job in some ways being true to the source material and the audiences for the source material. And then in other ways, they have completely betrayed these characters by trying to make everyone a fan of everything. And
Yeah.
there's never a point where they've just been like, hey, we're making Ms. Marvel for Ms. Marvel fans. We're making She-Hulk for She-Hulk fans. We're
Right.
making Eternals for like fans of the cosmic shit. It's always
We're
this
making Eternals for anyone who knows who they are.
anyone knows who they are. It went to see all the Jack Kirby colors. Like
Yeah.
that like instead it's like we get stupid lines, marketing lines like Thunderbolts, the best film since Endgame. I was like, why would you market it that way?
Yeah.
Why would you even why are you responding to these trolls saying stupid shit like that? Let
Yeah.
the movie just be the movie. And I love Thunderbolts. It's a dope film.
Yeah.
Need any other comparisons with this shit. So my approach when I'm watching these shows and watching these movies is like, am I a fan of the book? Because there is no one, except maybe that one person who has to be the one that collects all of these fucking titles. No one's doing that. No one's honestly that interested in all these titles at the exact same time. Like
Yeah.
there's runs, there's crossovers, sure.
That's really interesting. I never thought about it like that.
Yeah, that's always
Very
been my
true.
thing. It's like, why are you complaining about this thing that's coming out if you don't read the fucking book? If you've never been interested in She-Hulk ever, why are you watching the show?
Yeah.
To find something else to complain about. Like,
Well, and the idea that people who actually read and collect comics like don't read and collect all of it. And
yeah,
so it's kind of silly to expect that people who watch the stuff would also watch and like all of it.
right,
So,
right.
yeah.
I think I might own a She-Hulk comic,
Yeah.
and probably because someone I was interested in was on the cover art. Like, I don't read She-Hulk, so the whole fourth wall breaking was something I was introduced to as the show was coming on, and then when she did it in the final episode, and it was like, oh, okay. So like She-Hulk, um, Deadpool, Joker, these are the few characters that do that. This is their thing. And people were shitting on it, and I'm like, but if you know She-Hulk, you know this is her thing. You know this is literally what she does all the time. It's what she's known for. Oh, okay, guys are fucking morons. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
how always the complaints with these guys. So with Fantastic Four, I also treated the previous films like that. Like, yeah, okay, cool, family dynamic. I'm not really big on any of them, even individually. I think once it was like
Right.
brought to our attention that Sue was an Omega level hero, it was like, oh shit. And Franklin being okay, all right, they got major shit popping. It still didn't do anything for me. It still didn't stoke my curiosity and get me really excited. But I was interested in just wanting to see Feige's approach because he's been really excited about this film and just been bigging it up for so long. So yeah, I was excited for that aspect. Everything I was seeing in the trailers looked great. I am a trailer junkie. You're not the first person I've heard say sometimes I want to go in blind. Megan
Yeah.
says the same thing all the time. I'm like, I want every fucking detail. Give me every trailer. Give me everything to prep me for this. I can't wait to see what's gonna happen. It's like you can't ruin it for me. So I loved seeing that world that they built. The way it was stylized, the colors, everything, everything. It
Yeah.
just looked absolutely amazing. And yeah, I wasn't disappointed in the film. I think it's set up a lot, which is just what Marvel does. Um, but yeah, what did you think? What did you think? Just
Like you, I don't think I've ever read a Fantastic Four comic. That's not true. I've read like one issue of an old Jack Kirby one because I was on a podcast that was going to talk about it,
Okay.
like the thing. And then there's a book I really love called Silver Surfer Requiem,
Hmm.
which is about the Silver Surfers dying. And it's
Oh
kind of
wow.
like it's a Marvel Knights, almost like an Elseworlds DC kind of vibe.
Nice.
Like the silver stuff that is on his body is like deteriorating, and he goes to Reed Richards, and Reed's like, I can't, you know. So
Scrap.
basically, he just has to live out his remaining days and like try to figure out how to spend that time. And it's like a watercolor painted book. It's by
Hmm.
this artist named Assad Ribic. It's written by J. Michael Straczynski, who did, you know, that Thor run that they basically mined for the movies and stuff, the
Hmm.
first two anyway. And it was phenomenal. So that, you know, I had seen the old movies, like the 2000s ones. I
Yeah.
didn't care for the first one very much, but I liked the second one a lot, I
Yeah.
remember.
Was that Rise of the
Um,
Silver Surfer?
yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I went into this one thinking like, you know, they have nothing to live up to for me. So,
Right.
you
Right.
know, and I loved it, man. I saw Superman twice. I saw it like the that Thursday it came out, and then I saw it I think the following Tuesday,
Okay.
and then me and one of my friends who I saw Superman with, like we also went to see Fantastic Four together.
Nice.
So it was an interesting, you know, back to back because they're so different.
Yeah.
And I think Fantastic Four, what I was talking about, how Superman wasn't concentrated, you know, it was all over the place with all these characters
Hmm.
and stuff.
Hmm.
Fantastic Four was like a pretty narrowed down story and cast,
Yeah.
right? I do think it felt a little small just because they didn't interact with a lot of people. Like you had some supporting characters like the lady from Ted Lasso and, you know,
Hmm.
some of the other people, but like
Hmm.
there wasn't a lot of, you know, it almost felt like whenever you'd see the city, like there just weren't that many people in it,
Interesting.
you know? And I know some of that's because they had to lock down at one point or whatever, but like yeah, that made the movie feel a little bit small to me in some areas. That being said, is I don't really see it as a bad thing. I think it's because I just watched Superman that was so like
Yeah.
stuffed, right?
Yeah.
I love
Interesting.
that. I don't find Doctor Doom interesting at all. I don't know really much about him other than from that first movie. I know there are people who love Doom. It just
Oh
doesn't
yeah.
do anything,
Yeah.
right? So enter Galactus. Now you have my attention, right?
We got a real Galactus in this one.
Yeah, and I loved how they went and found him. I loved the interactions with the Silver Surfer.
Yeah.
I loved the design of the movie, that sort of like futuristic retro modern
Yeah.
vibe it had to it. I thought the fantastic car. I'm a car guy. I
Okay.
loved the design of that car.
So are
I
we gonna
loved it,
get one? Are you gonna make one?
bro. They made Regal made a popcorn bucket that is the size that is the correct scale to go with the action
Oh
figures.
shit.
And I've looked for those in the past, like when they made a charger for the Fast and Furious, and I was like, is Blade about to get a car?
Oh my
And
God.
then it was too small. They made an Ecto One too small, right?
Mm.
This is the first time they made one that scales perfectly. So for the first time in my several years of action figure collecting and modifications and customs and building, I bought brand new Marvel Legends figures
Nice.
to go with that car. So I really liked I thought the depictions of the characters were all pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, they were heightened more in the original Fox movies, right?
As
Like
far as like the individual relationships and the characters themselves.
the characters like Reed was a lot more of like the busy distracted scientist.
Yeah.
You know, Johnny was much more of the ladies' man and that
Yeah.
kind of thing, right?
Playboy.
Yeah, and the thing was a lot more like I'm the thing. It's clobbering pie, you know. So uh, I felt like they kind of leveled them out a bit in this, and maybe a little bit more like pronunciation of each personality was,
Mm.
you know. But I've only seen it once, so maybe it's there, and I just need to watch it again. But
Mm.
um, I really enjoyed it when, you know, spoiler alert, when there is anytime there's a character who is willing to self-sacrifice for
Oh
everybody
yeah.
else,
Oh
that
yeah.
shit kills me, bro. It gets
Yeah.
me every time.
Let's do
And
it.
when he goes tell Franklin Uncle Johnny loves him, and he's about to fucking, bro, they got me with that one.
Yeah.
They
That
got me
was
with that
tight.
one.
That was
Yeah.
tight. I loved the the strategy, the game plan they came up with to relocate the planet one dimension over so Galactus
I
can
thought
survive it.
clearly that's how we end up in the 616 or whatever that they do.
Just like that. I said, oh,
Yeah.
as they were discussing it, I said, I leaned over to Morgan. I was like, they're creating an incursion right now. I said, Reed is creating an incursion. Like
Yeah.
he's moving this Earth to a place that already has. This is about to be fucked up. I loved that we were kind of immersed in not just some of that retro futuristic tech that they had there. Um, the world I felt very curious just about that planet.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to see how things are working. Um,
And also curious if you noticed, by the way, just sorry to interrupt, but a
uh-huh.
curious lack of rat face people. Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. There was no rat face people. Um, it felt like racism wasn't a thing. Like
Yeah.
it just. I was like,
Yeah.
I am really curious about this one. I want
Which
more of
which
this.
would 100%, but also how fucked is it that like they even know if we're gonna show a 60s without racism, it's gotta be another fucking dimension because we can't do that shit here and you all know it and we know it.
Right?
So I like that they respected our intelligence
Yeah,
and history on that level, you
yeah,
know?
yeah. So,
Imagine when they show up if that Thunderbolts after credits scene, they're gonna be like, the fuck?
what are you guys doing over here?
What did you do? Yeah.
What? Why? Why did that have to happen? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I also love where they left the movie. That we didn't. It didn't take us directly into that scene, so that was good too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you know, we were talking about how you thought we both thought there was like an incursion thing happening, and then they
Mhm.
just completely zagged from that. And it
Complete.
was like, oh, you know.
Yeah.
And then I was joking about this. I said, you know, I will buy a celestial skyscraper sized man who eats planets. I will buy a silver alloy human being who rides around on a surfboard. You cannot get me to believe that everybody's going to turn off their lights and their TVs and shit at the same time for the betterment of the world. That
No.
ain't
No.
I can't roll with
No.
that.
Not a
And people
thing.
were like, "Well, it is like a magical place where racism doesn't exist." I was like,
Hmm.
"You know what? Maybe that there it is. That's how you justify it." Because, bro, I'm telling you, if you told the average person that all of their problems would be solved if they just stopped using their remote control, they're not getting up off that couch to change the
No
channel on
way,
that
bro.
TV,
No
man.
way. Even if it's just like we just need you guys to do this for an hour.
Yeah,
Just sit still. No one's candy crushing. Just for an hour, please.
right.
Ain't happening. Ain't
You ain't
happening.
gonna tell me what to do with my time,
Boom.
you know?
Boom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just like that. And now there's no
The
black.
liberals want you to turn off your computers. I say no, you know?
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Um, yeah, and then to have Silver Surfer, like the second they're about to pull this shit off, just come through and wreck shop. I was like,
Yeah.
that was hard.
And the way they paced it out, because I'm one of those people who's like, I know what they're about to do. Watch, this is about to happen. Because I study storytelling. It's my job, right?
Yeah,
I forgot about her. Like I was so
completely.
invested in what they were doing. I was like, oh, that's right. She's in this movie. And I feel like they picked the exact right amount of time to stop showing her to where
Yeah,
you forget and it's a surprise, you know?
yeah. She came through kicking ass.
Yeah. And I
Um,
liked also that Johnny had like something to do. Like he
right.
wanted to prove that he was smart. Like he wasn't just like a pretty face and fire, you
And we
know?
don't get that. We don't get that he's a scientist too. We don't normally get that shit.
Yeah.
So you mentioned Doom a little earlier, and I am a MF Doom enthusiast.
Right,
As
right.
far as Doctor Doom, I've respected him. Um, Understood, like, he's gone toe to toe with a lot of my favorite superheroes, especially, whenever there's like a Doom X-Men crossover, there's that one book where he encases Storm. I forgot what he encases her in, and her claustrophobia just goes crazy, and she's causing storms all over the planet. Like, I feel like it's hard to have an affinity for Doom outside of Fantastic Four because he's so tied to their storyline. Like, that's where he normally primarily sits.
Yeah.
Um, and now we know that we have this huge Doom story happening in the MCU. I feel like all right, this is a villain that I respect, but I'm not really that interested in. And then you make it even worse by bringing back Robert Downey Jr. to play this version of Doom, which
Yeah.
cannot after Secret Wars be the main version of Doom. Yeah, we can't do that. Um, but it just felt like a
Is he Oh, sorry. I was thinking of Secret Invasion, which I didn't
uh
watch.
yeah.
And I was going to ask if he was in that or hinted at that, but that Secret Wars is a totally different thing.
No, they actually were supposed to hint to him in Secret Invasion. They were
Okay.
supposed to hint. They were talking about hinting to him in there. They were talking about hinting at Doom, working in the background of what was it? Black Panther 2. There were so many different places they were talking about Doom's motivations, being
Hmm.
back there. So when they announced that Robert Downey Jr. was coming back as Doom, I was just like, who is this the fuck for? Like, if
Yeah.
you really want me to respect and, like really fuck with Doom like that, like as a character that you want me to like have some fear in my heart, why not just give this opportunity to another really, really good actor and let them fucking nail it? Because there are too many people that are qualified instead of giving us Robert Downey again. Like that shit was a super letdown for me.
Yeah. And also, like, what's that gonna, I mean, because Doom is supposed to be from this like fictional European country, which is also part of what I always had a hard time with, because like
Hmm.
Latveria, it just
Yeah,
sounds so fake, you know? And like they always try to make it like a serious thing, but they never go far enough. At least in the first movie I saw, like,
yeah,
it's like, wait, so is he from this? Like, I think they played that in the movie,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, they
But
had
it's
they had
like,
at the United Nations, they showed the
that's right.
Latveria flag a couple of times. They showed the flag, they showed him not showing up for one of the sessions. It's like,
Yeah.
fuck you guys. And then he pops up in
So
the end credit.
So then you cast Downey Jr., So here's the thing, guys. I'm from Latveria, like it's just gonna be so weird. There's like I can't hear him, and I know he's a good actor, but he's
Yeah,
usually just playing like a fast talking guy like himself,
yeah, yeah,
So yeah, man, I don't know. I maybe he's gonna do an accent or they're going to put him in prosthetics and it's not going to be super like Downey Jr. coded because I think it's super weird to establish that he is Iron Man for like 15 years or whatever it
yeah,
was.
yeah.
And then just like, you know?
I feel like the only benefit, and I've heard different content creators like talk about this as, a very good, you know, plot point or a beat is having the 616 heroes be caught off guard and seeing Tony as his villain.
Yeah.
Like, okay, that's a cool thing. Other than that, though, what's the point? Like,
Yeah.
what,
Yeah.
what, 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 what's significant? And I'm curious to see just how they're gonna write this thing. I have a suspicion that when it's all done, it will make sense. I don't think I'm gonna love it. I'm most likely gonna like it
Yeah.
because
It'd
they're
be like one
putting
of
in so
those,
many fucking heroes that I love in here.
right. It'd be
Yeah,
one of those begrudging things where you're like, I see what they did. I'm not a fan of it, but
right, right.
Yeah, it's that stunt casting is wild though. And
Stunt casting, I
at
love.
least it's another, I swear every time like the next villain is supposed to be there, everybody's just like, it's gonna be Denzel Washington.
Right,
And I
right,
really thought like, what if they had him as Doom? That would be wild.
right. And he's what? He's in the third Black Panther. That's been announced. I think,
That's right.
yeah, he's definitely in that. I
Do we
think,
think he's gonna be Wakandan? Is he
I
gonna,
think
because
so.
Denzel doesn't really do accents. He
He
did a
doesn't.
movie in like the 80s where he played a Brit.
Good point. He doesn't do
He's gonna
accent.
be out there like,
Sound
you
like
know,
Forrest Whitaker.
yeah, or he might just be Denzel, like,
That would be crazy. You
you,
can't just
so,
be
so you,
Denzel
so
Wakanda.
you a Panther? That's what you telling me? Hmm?
Right? You can't.
Okay,
You can't do that, Wakanda. Holy
you
shit.
better take that Purple Heart and eat that.
Yeah,
Just Brooklyn,
that
just
would be
fucking.
okay. All right, Kugler, you got a challenge. We got to see how this shit works out. It's gonna be crazy. Unless he's like a war dog. If he's a war dog, he needs an accent.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a old weathered one because he's getting
Yeah.
up there, you know.
He's
I
definitely
mean,
is.
look, I'd watch Denzel Washington read a phone book. I mean,
Facts.
yeah.
Absolute facts.
He's
So
the
yeah.
only actor who I feel is like, because like we're just talking about Downey Jr. I'm thinking like he's not a character actor
No.
for the most part. Like he'll do some roles that are a little left of center for him, but usually he's just being a version of himself.
Yep.
And a friend of mine said that to me about Denzel once, and I was just like, I mean, s- yes and no. Like
Mm-hmm.
Malcolm X, like he was like
Bruh.
possessed by the spirit of Malcolm. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like,
Stepped in.
yeah, I don't know if you saw Roman J. Esquire. Like
I
he
didn't
was
see
like that
that.
was character. It's really good. I think you'd like that.
Okay.
It's really good. Super underrated, like just under the radar kind of movie.
Okay.
Um, but then there's movies where he's just Denzel, right?
Yeah.
And like so that's what I'm wondering which version we're gonna get. I mean, I haven't seen Gladiator 2, but in the trailers I saw, he's just like he's fighting a lion. That's
Yo.
like it just you sound like Denzel, man.
Does.
You're not
He
putting on
does.
like a he is my warrior or anything like that. You
Yeah.
just
No. No.
so
I
yeah.
enjoyed Gladiator too. It's I would have been upset if I spent money on it in the theater, but I enjoyed
Okay. Okay.
it.
I was waiting for it to
I'll say
hit
that.
Prime. I'll watch anything he's in, so
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna watch
Yeah.
that one. But you know,
Highest to lowest, prepare yourself to just, hey, Denzel's on screen. The
okay.
story, like, I don't know what Spike was doing. For this to be like, Denzel's about to retire. This is going to be the last film you do with him, Spike. Like, it's like, bro, you did him a disservice. This was not,
Oh man,
yeah, it was
that's a
not a good film.
bummer.
Yeah, not a good film.
Because
Not
the
a good film.
Inside Man, that was the last one they made, right? Together
Yeah,
before
yeah,
this.
yeah. That was that shit.
I love that movie,
Yeah,
man.
that was
Love that
incredible.
movie.
Fucks
Yeah.
with
And
that.
obviously Malcolm X. I mean, I watched Malcolm X when I was like, when that come out, 92,
I
93.
think 93. Yeah.
Yeah, I was, 7, 8 years old watching Malcolm X. My
Yeah,
dad
so
was like,
he
watch
was
this,
Malcolm
Ibrahim.
X.
Yeah.
Yeah. He
Yeah.
was,
And I
yeah.
actually, I don't know. Did you ever listen to that podcast? Denzel Washington is the greatest actor of all time, period.
No, no.
It was really good. And they had Spike Lee on it.
Oh wow.
And he said, there's that scene where they're on like the street in Harlem and you've been bamboozled, hoodwinked, run
Oh
them up,
god.
right? And actually they would rate Denzel's movies based on like, was this a bamboozled Denzel or was it like, it's a great. But when Spike Lee was on, he said that like when they were filming that scene, Denzel just like was going off script
Oh,
and it was just coming out of him. And they were like he looked at his DP or whatever, was like,
keep rolling.
yeah. And he said that they just went until it like ran out of film. And then Denzel, like he just kind of like snapped out of it and he was like, what was that, man? Like, where did you go? And he was like, I don't even know.
Holy
Like, it
shit.
just was like coming out of him. Like, it just, it's pretty wild.
All right, I gotta rewatch it. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Been a minute. Yeah, I'm always, I watch Training Day anytime I get the opportunity to. That shit was hard.
Yeah.
It was just mayhem. Dude was fucking mayhem in that film. And
Yes.
I really enjoyed that shit.
Boom. One of my one of my favorite things is when I'll never forget this scene or the sound of the leather glove. Remember in Malcolm X when all the guys march on the police
Yeah,
station
yeah.
and he puts a hand up and then he turns it into an arrow, like a finger
Woo!
pointing like that way, and it's just the sound of that leather. Oh man, just
Yeah,
like there was something in like little 7 or 8 year old me when I saw that where I was like, I didn't fully know what was happening, but I knew that was one of the coolest things I had ever seen.
yeah, yeah. That and then in Training Day, I don't remember, was it the conversation in the car or wherever there's a point when he taps the guns together.
Yes.
And I'm like, this shit is wild.
Yeah.
It's like just seeing Denzel's face and the guns are like, I'm like,
Yeah.
who is
And
this
that
guy?
scene where it's a King Kong ain't got shit
Get
on me,
on
like
me.
that's him just improvise, like ad libbing. Like a lot of that
Oh
stuff
my
was him just going
God.
off. Yeah, it wasn't in the script.
Oh shit.
Shoot program, all that
Yeah.
stuff, Yeah.
The man's amazing. Okay,
Yeah.
great. So he's gonna be
Sorry.
in the
I
MCU.
always do this.
This
I
is
feel like I
good.
always
No,
turn conversations into Denzel.
no. So now it's like Time it. How long into the episode before
Yeah.
Ibrahim brings up that's up? Um, so yes, great. We're talking about, just the MCU in general. Let's bring it on back to Fantastic Four. So, we got a legit Galactus,
Yep.
and then he got disappeared. So I love that he can end up anywhere now.
Yeah.
I do also love how his obsession with Franklin really communicated to anyone who was unaware of the lore around Franklin how important and how powerful Franklin is.
Yeah, because I'm like aware of it, but only just sort of, through osmosis. Like I've never
Yeah,
read that stuff. So
yeah.
the idea, and how far back does that go? Is that a recent thing, or is that like
No, I
from
think that's at least a
70s
good.
or
Yeah, I think that's well. I guess okay. Recent. I was gonna say at least within the last 10 years. I was gonna say.
okay? Because I
Yeah.
remember when they had the kids, but I didn't know if that was like in continuity or comics are
hmm
so
All over the place.
they're superhero comics specifically anyway.
Yeah.
Just like
Yeah.
constant changes.
Yeah. Again, me being someone who wasn't really like interested in any of their books, I would always, oh, okay, Franklin, cool. He's a kid. Okay, great. Oh, I see him in the uniform. Cool. He's fighting with them. Great. I'm sorry. He's in the mech. I'm sorry. He can build universes. He's what type of being is he now? Holy shit. So at the end of Thunderbolts, when we saw their ship come into 616, and it was just like Fantastic Four first steps. I was already like, okay, so the first steps they're talking about is Franklin taking his first
Yeah.
steps, it's him being born. And I think him crossing into our dimension is what's going to activate all these cosmic abilities. Like I was already just like,
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but we didn't get that. Well, instead we got Mans was just born with it.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
like that.
And
And
Galactus said, "You keep your money. I'll get your baby." I just
exactly.
realized that right now. I was like, that, oh my God.
Yeah.
You wanted
Yeah.
that baby. That's great.
Just,
Yeah.
just I'm good on everything else, guys. Let me get the kid though. If I can get
Yeah.
that kid, and it was basically so he could retire.
Yeah. Yeah. He
I
said,
just need to re-
let me get an 8 piece, get a Diet Coke. I'm trying to watch that sugar. You guys got them those little French fry sticks? Yeah, leave me some of those and your baby.
and your baby and
A
I don't know,
child.
cosmic baby. You got any cosmic babies left?
Yeah.
Take one of those.
See, what do I want? What do I want? What do I
What do I want?
want?
I need to pass this hunger off to this fucking kid so I can just go somewhere else and just like have a regular life and die and shit.
Yeah. Which is like, you know, when I was younger, if I'd seen that, I would have been like, man, this guy's crazy. But now, I just hit 40. I'm like, I get it, man. I get
Yeah. Yeah.
it.
Just 40, not like
Yeah.
however many million years he's been around, right?
Right. Right.
Doing this same shit forever.
Yeah.
Balancing the universe, eating fucking planets. He's like, I'm fucking over it, bro.
You think I even like the way planets taste?
Have you eaten the planet? It's
I'm
like you
eating
digest
dirt,
that
dude.
shit.
It's fucking dirt. Sucks.
Exactly. It's fucking,
There's no
exactly.
sauce on it. Nothing. Just
Can't put nothing on this shit. Yeah. That shit was pretty dope. So yeah, curious to see, and I understand all the timing too with Secret Wars and everything coming up, of course. So they aged him up by the end of the film a little bit. So
oh right,
Franklin's
because he
gonna,
was like 5 or
yeah, I
something
think
then,
it's like
right?
five.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Franklin's gonna be a bit of an issue. Okay, cool, great. I am curious as to how they're gonna have all these overpowered characters in the MCU and how they're gonna properly distribute the stories because while we have Franklin's about to come in, I feel like up until this point in the MCU, it's been understood like once Thor enters a situation, it's a fucking wrap.
Right.
So they use him sparingly. He doesn't pop up all over the place. Same thing with Captain Marvel. Once Carol's there, it's what exactly are we doing? Like this, we're not
Right.
punching people. Let's just crash an entire ship and get to the business. Um, but now we have Sentry. Now we have Franklin.
Yeah.
Sentry, like that fight scene in the Avengers Tower was like, okay, this dude is a serious issue. You did see Thunderbolts?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like,
And
this
did
is.
you read Siege? Do you remember that one? That
Mm-mm.
Okay, so there was I mentioned the Michael Straczynski Thor run, right?
Hmm.
That's what they use like the whole thing of Loki being a Frost Giant's kid, like that's from that run. And that came out
Okay.
I want to say like early 2000s. So
Mm,
it's somewhat recent, in the grand scheme of things. Olivier Coipel drew a lot of it. He's my favorite artist. He's incredible.
nice.
Um, so uh, after that storyline, Asgard gets transported to Earth. So it's just this like the city floating above somewhere in like Oklahoma, I think it is, right?
Crazy.
Yeah, and that's where they, so in Ragnarok when they bring it to Iceland or whatever, like
Right.
that's what that's referencing kind of. So all of a sudden you have all these like refugees basically in this, you know, floating place in the middle of nowhere, in the farmland and stuff, and it's sort of like them kind of figuring out how to like mingle with these, Earthlings and stuff,
Earthlings,
and
yeah.
it's pretty interesting. It's really good stuff, but. And that's why in the first movie Thor ends up in that small town. It's kind of like I think a nod to
Okay,
that.
a little nod to that.
Yeah. So uh, there was a comic book event. It was a 4 issue thing drawn by Olivier Coipel and written by Brian Michael Bendis. It was called Siege,
Mm,
and basically it was like back then the New Avengers, I think is what they were, or the Dark Avengers. It was like
okay.
Norman Osborn, Patriot, or whatever they call it, when he had the Iron Man suit.
Hmm.
It was Daken, Wolverine's son, a few of these, like the Dark Avengers, whatever.
Got you.
And they basically, I think Norman Osborn was president at the time or something like that.
Sounds
And they
about right.
did a thing where they were like, these are hostile invaders, and we're going to go lay a siege on uh, Asgard.
Wow.
And yeah, and so they show up and they're wreaking havoc, and then Cap shows up, Thor and stuff, and like they're there to defend stuff. And just when it starts popping off, Sentry shows up, and
Oh
he's on the
shit.
bad guys team, and
Yikes.
it gets kind of wild. Like there's Ares is a character, and like he's the
Hmm.
god of war. Sentry holds him above his head and rips him in half. Like just
Damn.
yeah. So that was the moment when it was like, oh, Sentry's no joke in the
None.
comics,
None.
Yeah. So and it'll be interesting to see how they play that because you're right. I mean, a lot of these characters have a lot of power.
Yeah.
And to take it back to Superman real quick, that was actually a really interesting dynamic that I feel like also wasn't explained very well, but like he's powerful and strong, but he and I don't feel like they depowered him. I think they just heightened the abilities of other people around him, right?
Mm,
But
mm.
what my friend
Okay.
Alan said after we watched it is I was like, man, he was really getting his ass beat that whole movie. And he goes, yeah, I think it's like that Justice League cartoon though, where he's like, holding back. Everything around me is made
Yes.
of cardboard, right?
Yes.
I don't feel like that was communicated. I think we had to infer that. And I wish that they would have pushed that idea a little bit more obviously,
Okay.
just to make it definitive,
Okay.
But I think it is evident when he finds out he's fighting a clone of himself and
He
is
goes in.
like,
He
he
goes
goes in.
in. Yeah.
Gloves are off, right?
Yep.
Because so
He knows this guy can take it.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think that is an interesting thing that you only get with Superman is that like he holds back
Right.
where these other characters don't because they're either not strong enough to or, they show up and it's like, okay, well, once they get here, it's over.
Yeah.
So you do have to have a reason why Carol's not around.
Yeah.
You do have to reason why Thor is off in
Busy doing
Asgard,
something. Yeah.
can't help. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, because for a lot of these characters, they are fighting to defend people, but because of their power set, they're also fighting for their life.
Yeah,
Whereas like a Carol and Thor can come in and just be like, all right, I'm cleaning the deck. Like,
yeah,
so I'm actually glad they didn't give us that. They didn't infer that in Superman because I remember knowing Superman as a character for so long. When that happened in the Justice League and that was spelled out that way, I was like, oh shit. So like for decades, this character that I've seen go toe to toe with people and take blows, it's like it's fucking Superman. I watched him. I watched him reverse
Mm.
this
Right.
the planet's trajectory and rewind time. There's nothing he can't do, depending on the book. Why is he actually going toe to toe? Because he would fucking like if he hit someone the way he actually could, the ramifications are incalculable. Like holy shit, did not think about
That I was talking to a friend of mine about the difference in the depictions of the Cavill version
that.
and the
Mm-hmm.
Barnes Webb version. And we were talking about how he shows up in the end of the Snyder Cut, and it's a wrap. I mean, they've been
Oh yeah.
struggling against
Oh yeah.
Steppenwolf this whole movie.
Oh yeah.
This axe of his that destroyed Amazonian warriors and has wreaked havoc across the globe
Right.
can't touch him, and then he blows on it. He
Bruh.
just blows on it, and it's gone. Like so. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, you have to. It depends on how you want to portray them, right? If you want to make him that powerful, you got to save him till the end. I would
Yeah.
rather that he was a little less strong against the guy, so we could have him in some actual runtime in the movie because that's
Mm-hmm.
my guy. But
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Yeah. That was that final battle in Justice League was one of my favorites because of the way he came in. Like he
yeah,
came in and it was like again, not my favorite superhero, but this motherfucker came through like this is what I do. This is
yeah.
what I do. Let's just wrap all these little squabbles up real quick.
And again, with Snyder, how and we were talking about Rebel Moon, how you're just supposed to like infer the in between moments.
Hmm.
We never got a moment of Superman showing up like that in
No,
anything,
no.
and this one felt so lived in that it was kind of like you really should have shown us that happening more
Early, yeah,
because
yeah. I felt
and
like
I feel like yeah, that was also one of my issues with this new movie too, is that like I feel like there weren't enough like moments where he does something and it goes dun 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 and you're like fuck
uh,
yeah, Superman's here. Like he caught that building, which was a great moment, but it was in
yeah,
the trailer,
yeah.
and then like there were a couple other little ones, but there was the one where he's fighting Ultraman and the camera like kind of looks up at him and he's looking down and it felt a little like he's not
Mm.
doing anything really. Like what's going on here?
That's a little poster moment.
Yeah, and his eyes are all fucked up, so it's not even like that. You know what I mean? Like, I think with Superman, you need that where you're like, thank God Superman is here.
Yeah,
And they made you think it was about to happen, and then they went, psych your mind, it's Green Lantern, and he's flipping
yeah,
people off, and you're like, oh,
yeah,
okay,
yeah. Okay. Well, now he's got a hill, he's got a mountain to climb to get us to that point. And I hope
yeah,
it's going to be super rewarding when it actually happens, like for real.
same,
So, again, we both have admitted when it comes to the books, the Fantastic Four, yeah, we know about them, do you feel like Marvel got this right? And I'm saying that amongst all the criticisms, understanding what they've done previously, having somewhat of an understanding of where they're trying to go. How do you think this fits in with everything else?
well, I think the what worked about it for me probably the most is that it didn't, like it
Mm,
was its own thing,
okay.
and I think Thunderbolts, while it was tied into Black Widow and some of the other, Winter
Falcon and
Soldier
Winter
type of stuff.
Soldier. Yeah.
Yeah, I felt like it felt standalone enough to where like it had the same benefit of being like not trying too hard to fit into something, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's a benefit also of just where they're at right now with they don't have a big
Hmm.
tent pole yet that they're building to. They're not there's they're sort of laying the groundwork for what's next, but they're very much in like a transition phase. The team's in
Yeah.
kind of a rebuilding year or whatever. So it's
Yeah.
like,
That Kang exit. Right.
yeah, I think they can kind of find their footing now, whereas before it was like you gotta a prescription you got to stick to. And I think that's a problem
Yes.
with create anything creative is when it's too prescriptive. There's no room to make something good because you're trying to hit certain benchmarks,
Yeah. Yeah. Good point. I would agree that I loved how it was its own thing, which is one of the things I loved about Eternals. And also, like, I don't know, man. The fandom is just the fandom, and then also I understand the content creators, the YouTubers, they have to have content. So they have to. They have to find something to complain about and just keep dragging it on,
Yeah, and
dragging it
clickbait
on.
and stuff. And, I mean,
Yeah,
like you and I are talking about because we're friends and we like this stuff. And we've been wanting to
right.
have this conversation. Like this was going to happen whether we were on camera and on mics or
Period.
not,
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And
yeah.
there is a lot of just like, I mean, bro, we're in the middle of all these people are culture war profiteers.
Yep, yep, yeah. Real shit. I had to stop following Screen Crush. I just had to because it
Yeah,
was like every time something came out, Marvel's back, or are they? And it was like,
right.
dude, what are we doing? What
Yeah.
exactly? Like, are you not seeing your own titles? It's literally the same shit every single time. It's like, what are we doing?
When I have a book come out and the PR folks are doing a good job of getting it out to different websites and stuff, sometimes I got to go to the website to find it because I can't find the link they sent me or whatever.
Okay.
And that shit came out like same day, and I'm scrolling page after page because I can't find it because they post once an hour minimum, you know? And it's all because they get paid probably off of Google
Yeah.
AdSense and all that
Yep.
shit. But it's just
Definitely.
like, who can, what's the point? You
Yeah. On
know?
its own with that shit.
Yeah.
All right. One last question before we pivot. Um, and definitely if there's anything else you want to bring up from the movie, sure. But which character do you feel like benefited the most from this version of the Fantastic Four?
It's a great
Especially in compared
question.
to other previous films.
Yeah, I think maybe Galactus.
Hmm.
Just because it was such a good depiction of Galactus, right?
Yeah.
Like I feel like the other Fantastic Four movies did a decent enough job with the characters, and
Yeah.
I feel like we even got a little bit more out of Silver Surfer with the Lawrence Fishburne, Doug,
Oh yeah. That
can't
was
remember the
great.
actor's last name, but the guy in the bodysuit.
Doug Jones. Was it
Yeah,
Doug Jones?
Doug Jones, yeah, thank you. So yeah, I think probably Galactus. Yeah.
Okay.
What about you?
Um, I was gonna say Sue, and I'm saying Sue because I don't think depictions of Sue previously, and there's still some of that in this, always remind me of the Jean Grey depictions, where it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
she's got these powers, she's got these moments, and then as soon as she's done, it's like, oh. But like this
That's a
one,
good point.
you
You're
know what
right.
I'm
I changed my answer.
saying? So this happened. However, what Sue was able to pull off with her abilities, she hasn't done this in any live action shit prior to this.
Yeah, it was
Um,
very much the mom lifting a car
hell,
type of vibe.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And I was
And
like,
I like to yeah, the way like the speech she gave, like it
mm-hmm.
really gave her character like gravity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I think that's going to be important as they enter 616. That's going to be
Yeah.
super important. Like she needs to come in and it's more of her. It's just not she's a mama bear and this is Reed's wife. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
It's like
Like
leadership. She's like a
exactly.
leader. Yeah.
Exactly.
Like you could tell, I mean, Reed was trying to do what he was trying to do, but she was the like she was running point on that group. I feel like
Yeah.
she was the group's leader. Everybody looked to her for what to do.
Yeah. She was
So
running
yeah, that's a
point
good point.
and she was also keeping Reed in check because there was a side to Reed that resonated so well with me. The
Yeah.
very logical, hey man, it is what it is. This is what the numbers add up to, and these are the choices we got to make.
Yeah.
Um, and people are like, this going to lead to, I forgot what the storyline is, where there's like a dark version of Reed, Council of Reeds, and all of that shit. Um, so, and also some of the Illuminati shit in the 616 when it comes to making decisions on what planets will and won't make it through these incursions. I loved that we got that little hint of Reed, and Sue was like, hey, look, I
Snap
know
out
what
of
this
it.
is
Yeah.
not happening.
We're not doing all that. Yeah.
Right. She's like, the moment, sure, it's not so much about the moment. I know this version of you. I know where
Yeah.
your head is right now. It's a no. It's a no, dog. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit. Okay. All
That's
right.
a good point. I'm aware of that stuff, but because I haven't read it, like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's yeah. But yeah, I like that. I
Yeah.
also liked the depiction of the Silver Surfer in this.
Hmm.
Like the way you see her like surfing the cosmic
Yeah.
sludge or whatever, like that was fire. I
Yeah.
loved that whole
Yeah.
scene. And I was surprised when like it was like, oh, they're in space now. We're just going to space. Like it wasn't like the
Like
final
normal.
act. It was like
Yeah. They just be in
they
space.
went. Yeah, it was like act two, like, all right, we gotta go talk to this guy, you know?
We're gonna shoot up there. Yeah, so we do.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
astronauts. We're space travelers. Space traveling scientists. Our thing. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that shit was dope. Um, I think I'm always awed in the way Silver Surfer is depicted in comparison to other characters and just the power sets and shit. It's like I always look for those moments where they're just flicking people off the board. It's like a tip. Leave.
Yeah.
Why is your hand touching this? Stop it.
Yes.
Stop it.
I
That
hope we
fucking
see her again because there's a
yes.
lot of opportunity for really cool stuff with that character. Like in that book I was telling you about, like he's dying and he has the power cosmic, right? And
Hmm.
like he gifts everyone with the power cosmic for like 2 seconds or something like
Holy
everyone in the
shit.
world. And it drains him, but they get to see how beautiful it is. And it like changes humanity because they all shared that experience at the same time for
Wow.
like just a couple seconds. Yeah. And saw this thing that they can't even comprehend, like conceive of, you know?
So much larger than them that makes their differences seem like absolutely nothing. That's dope.
Exactly. It was really
Sheesh.
dope. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're gonna need when she enters the end 616, we are gonna need that scene replayed from Rise of the Silver Surfer when he goes through the board. We're gonna need that.
Yeah.
That shit was
Yes.
incredible. Like,
Absolutely.
yeah, run that back. Run that
I
all the
love
way
that
back.
even though she was like silver and like metallic and metal made or whatever, he's just like, "What's up, girl?
Yeah,
How you
right.
doing?"
I'm saying,
Yeah.
I feel like we can make this work. What's good with you? I understand your language now. I feel like we can make this work. What's up?
You're so reflective, I can see myself in you, you know?
That's hilarious. Oh my God. Very Johnny. Very Johnny. Okay, sir. So you have a new project,
Yes.
Half-Blood.
Yes, sir.
I have Count. I have Retroactive. I don't think I have either of those signed by you yet. So we're going to make sure that happens.
Oh man, I appreciate it so
Going to
much,
make sure
dude.
I get those in your hand. Um, so I'm trying to remember. We met at the Portland Art Museum.
Right.
Um, Kenny Fresh brought you
Yeah.
through, and
Well, specifically his sister Marissa.
it's
So shout out to
yes, Marissa.
Marissa. She was the one who
Yes,
hooked that up. Yeah.
yes. Shout out to Marissa. And I think I had the Batman Who Laughs. I had that Funko Pop there at my
Right.
desk,
Yep.
and then we started having a conversation off of that. And it was like, wait, you're doing what now? Wait, you work with what now? Wait, what's happening? Did we just become best friends? Yup.
Right.
It's like
Then
the
we did
fuck.
karate in the modern art installation. Yeah.
Hells yeah. So then once I started reading your shit, it was first off anything that I knew that you were going to be associated with. If I could find it at my local comic shop, I'm there. Boom, I need it. I just
Thank you,
gotta.
bro.
It's I don't know, like it's just a thing for me, and I'm pretty sure other people, I don't know. I get dope. I get like a fucking injection of dopamine when my homies are doing really cool shit. And it's like,
Yes.
but then someone else gets to see it, and it's like, oh, you think that's dope? Yeah, that's my guy. It's fucking dope, right? It's not
Yeah.
just me that thinks it's
Right.
dope. You think it's dope too? Oh, yeah, yeah, it's dope. It's just, yeah. He does it all the time. He just does dope shit. So, so like,
Thank you, man.
yeah, I loved it. I love it. And then when you started doing when you started doing the videos for the action figures, and I was just like, these fucking customs are very intricate. Like, and you started explaining the process, and then the videos just started. Like, I said, he is really knocking this shit out. And because I have so much unedited content, I know how much work it takes
Yes.
to do what
Yes.
you do at the level that you do it, while you're also still writing, when you're also still doing illustrations, and then doing your own work at the same time. And then yeah, well, in between all of that, I got Count, read Count, and we had a conversation about one of those panels that spoke to me that was like a scene out of Snatch. That was like a Guy Ritchie, like if I felt like I was watching a Guy Ritchie film, the way you cut from one part of the story to the next. And I texted you about it, and you were like, exactly. And I'm like, this guy just
Thank you,
doesn't
bro.
fucking
I'm
miss.
trying to remember what that was.
It was
I
there was
remember
a
the
scene.
conversation.
There was a scene in Count. I think he was looking at a sword, and the angle in which you
Oh, right.
illustrated, yeah, the
Yeah, yeah,
angle in which
yeah.
you illustrated, and then the cut. It was like this is like fucking Bullet Tooth Tony. Like, what are we talking about? How does no one else see this shit? This is amazing.
Thank you, man.
So at the time where it's like, oh, you got something new coming out? Yeah, yeah. Give me that. Just I need that. So Half Blood.
Yeah.
First off, how? Because you're gonna find time to do things that you love. How do you schedule it out? Like, are you giving yourself deadlines? Is this like I need to come out with the book every so often? Like, are you creating benchmarks? How does that work? And then how do you know when the story's done?
That's a very good question. So, I've with Humanoids, who put out Count and Retroactive and is forthcoming Half-Blood, and I actually have another book in that. So I had a three-book deal with them. So I
Okay.
did Count, Retroactive, and then Sin. And Sin is
Uh,
actually like a loose sequel to Count.
okay.
So we follow one character from Count, and it's basically like a sci-fi western with this character, right? Like
Okay.
no spoilers, but there's a character in the book who is this kind of like uh, she's like an assassin, like she's a government, enforcer basically.
Okay.
And she used to be a person, and then was like they tried to save her life because she got sick and using this old tech, and they turned her into like a cyborg, and basically was like, she sort of lost her humanity, and they this very fascistic regime like basically turned her into like an enforcer for them, right?
Mm.
And so Sin picks up where she's
Right. Sin. Okay.
like basically just trying to disappear to a corner of the world where nobody knows who she is. So she goes to this dusty little area called the Rings, and she takes up with this nice family, and they rescue dogs, and like, she's
Mm.
just like, I don't want to be an attack dog anymore. Like I want to help. I want to save lives. And they're like, well, you can, kick it with us and save dogs, right? Well, some people show up, very, very much a Western, right? Some
Yep.
bad guys rolling into
Yep.
town, and she has to decide if she's going to pick the swords up again or not,
Right.
right? Um,
Tight.
so with all these like, I so I'm working with a publisher, and basically I pitch one book after another. So in that instance, I had a three-book deal with them, and
Okay.
so it was like, okay, here's book one. We'll figure out what book two is. We'll figure out what book three is. But I'm always kind of working on those in the background in my head to get the pitch ready. So I try to orchestrate to where I roll right into the next one so that I have like steady
Gotcha.
pay coming in. With Half Blood, it was like I was finishing up Sin, and I just hit them up like, hey, you guys want to do another book with me? And they were like, yeah, because the books have done well for them, at least, like Hollywood wise, like they're
Hmm.
very happy with what's happening in the background on that stuff. And
Nice.
so I had this idea where I was like, I want to tell a samurai story, but in a very unique way. And so I pitched it to them, and they were like, "Yeah, let's do it." So really, it's just about trying to get these ideas off in a way that I can roll one right into the other. And then as far as knowing when they're done, I have 120 pages to tell these stories in, which is the
Okay.
equivalent of like six comic book issues, right?
Got you.
So I just know I got to fit it into that space, and I've done it enough now where I kind of like I
Mm.
actually just sat down to write this script out, and it just came in like I think it was like 118 pages, and I was like, okay, cool. I have 2 pages of room where I can go beef up this scene and that scene.
Wow. So you kind of
Yeah,
got your rhythm basically.
exactly. Yeah.
That's tight. Okay. So what can you tell us about Half-Blood?
Yeah, so it we open the book in London, in Victorian London, and you
Okay.
see the aftermath of an absolute massacre of this family, right? And we
Sheesh.
close in on this portrait, like a painted portrait of this woman and her two children, her younger brother and her husband, right? So then we cut to Japan and we meet Senjuro, who is this mixed race samurai. During the Edo period in Japan, the shores of Japan were closed off. Like they didn't allow anyone in
Mm,
except for Dutch trade ships and like certain priests who would come on like missionary type of shit, right?
mm.
Um and so, if you're familiar with Yasuke, who was like the historically like black samurai,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
There are different ideas on where he was from and what his background was, and so some of the consensus is that he was a Sudanese former slave who
Mm,
ended up being like a deckhand on the ship that one of these priests, or maybe he was like somehow involved in their religious stuff or whatever.
okay.
And then one of these lords, I think it was Nobunaga, I can't remember exactly, but some Japanese like shogun or daimyo saw him and was like, this guy's tight. Like,
Yeah,
like I want him
yeah,
around, And
yeah,
so then they elevated him to retainer eventually after a while. So, people have done stories about Yasuke. He's in the new Assassin's Creed
yep.
game. Um, I wanted to do something kind of inspired by that, but not exactly that. So in this version, and my story, Senjuro is uh his father was a Sudanese sailor for a Dutch
Mm,
trade ship. His mother was like a cook in a daimyo's like employ basically.
okay.
They meet in a market, love at first sight kind of thing. Her dad is like, "No, you fucking didn't." He has to sail off. They never see him again.
Right.
Now they're raising this dark skinned kid, right?
Wow.
And so, a lot of it is sort of related to my experience as a half blood, right? Like, and in my line of work, there's nobody cutting a path for people like me, right?
No.
Specifically Middle Eastern Arabs, people with Muslim names like
Yeah.
uh, you know, Asian creators had Larry Hama. There's the Filipino Renaissance in the comics in like the
Mm,
70s. Jim Lee,
yeah.
it's me for us. I mean, there's like one or two other people maybe kind of like they were my contemporaries, but they're not writing and drawing books. They're not,
Mm,
out here on this. So, uh, this character like had to make himself, he was different, right? And that made him ostracized, and so he had to make himself undeniable, right?
mm.
So he comes up being called Half-Blood. He develops a name for himself as the Black Demon, right?
Oh shit.
Yeah, so he's just like people know who he is, you know what I
Okay.
mean? And we meet him, and it's like the end of the samurai era. So he's like guarding a wagon full of like, grain. Like that's the only work he could find. Because the samurai, I have a line in the book. I say that the flame of the samurai flickers on the winds of modernization, right?
Mm,
So like the emperor was trying to bring in Western culture, and the samurai they're about to be outlawed,
right.
as is the plot of The Last Samurai, starring Tom Cruise. uh, so he's like, am I gonna have to commit seppuku? Like there's no
Yeah.
honorable end for this guy. There's no death in battle. There's no like
Right.
service that's befitting of a warrior like him. So in walks the woman from the painting, right? And we find out that she's this world traveler, anthropologist, explorer,
Mm,
and she's there with her companion, who's a Sikh from the Punjab region of India, right? And presumably somebody she met on her journeys, and the Sikh actually are like on par with the samurai just about in terms of like dope warrior
oh shit.
culture, like
Okay.
traditions and stuff. So she comes in and she's like speaking in Japanese, going like, "I'm looking for the one they call the Black Demon. Like, is that you?" And he's like, "Who's asking?"
Right.
And basically she says, "Look, I have a job for you. Like, somebody killed my family or something killed my family, and I need a demon to help me like find these demons, basically,
Nice.
right?"
Nice.
So we only spent about 10 pages in Japan, then they're on a ship to London. So it's a samurai, a mixed race samurai, fish out of water in Victorian London, and her, Senjuro, and Singh, the Sikh soldier,
Right.
together are hunting who or what killed her family.
I love
And
the word
so
what.
yeah, I mean it's
Yeah.
like you'll probably guess when you're reading it. I don't want to spoil it, but it's my take on a classic trope.
Nice.
Um, and it's a thing where I was just like, you know what we've never seen before? Well, fuck it, I'll just say it. It's not a spoiler really. We've never seen I Googled this extensively.
Okay.
Samurai versus vampires, specifically European vampires. You know what I mean?
Okay. No,
So
we haven't.
yeah,
We
but
haven't.
my take on them, right? So this is a much more animalistic kind of vibe. It's not like, an erudite man who's like, I say, come, let me exsanguinate you. It's like,
Where where you talked
so
about them traveling back to Victorian London, the first thing that popped in my head for a split second was League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. So
yeah,
when you said like this is, they're gonna be, I don't want to spoil it. I'm like, this is Jekyll and Hyde. Who is he going after? This is gonna be great. And he said vampires. That's super dope. But that's also just one of my favorite films. Like I fucking love League of Extraordinary.
it's I feel like it's pretty underrated personally.
Yes.
I watched it
Yeah.
a couple years ago. And I was like, this is not that bad. I
No,
don't,
no.
but yeah, I think it's, it's League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I haven't read. I think I read like one volume of the comic. I'm trying to remember, but it's
Mm,
like this is a horror action book for sure,
yeah.
right?
Okay.
Yeah, this is like, it's kind of like
Yes.
I liken the last act of it to like Dread or like The Raid, where it's kind of like
Mm,
you're storming the castle kind of vibe, where it's just like all out violence,
okay.
but like
Oh,
for a good reason kind of thing.
this is gonna be so
Um,
good.
Thank you, man. I'm really proud of it. I think it's the best ending to anything I've ever written. I think it's the best drawing I've ever done.
Oh wow.
So I'm really excited about it. Currently, so my publisher is planning to kickstart it because that's been kind of the rage with comics lately. Is like
Okay.
it kind of helps them find their specific audience in a way that being in stores doesn't. Now they are going to print it eventually, and it'll be available in bookstores as well. But
Mm,
they're going to start with a Kickstarter, and as of right now, I don't have a date for when it's going to launch yet. They
okay.
have these pre-launch pages set up where you can click notify me on launch and it'll email you when the campaign goes live. They're sort of doing this like internal bake off where they're like, okay, we're doing four of these, we're pre-launching four titles at once.
Okay.
The one that gets the most RSVPs will get priority, right? So I beat their little contest, and then they started paying for advertisements for one of them, so that
Oh,
one
come
will get
on.
that. But I was like, I was John Henry with the thing, man. I beat the machine, you know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
after a while, I was like, all right, I can't keep doing this. I got work to do. But
Right.
so hopefully it'll be sooner rather than later. So if
Okay.
anybody listening to this wants to go click that link,
Yeah.
be a huge help.
We can put that in the description. Um, I love horror, period. I am starting to explore horror. Well, horror comics I've been collecting for a while. Um, hasn't been a major part of my collection, but if I see a horror comic that's got a twist I'm fucking with, I'm like, okay, all right, let's go. I am starting to delve more into horror and gaming. It's just I'm starting to just game more.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's exciting to hear that this is where you're going. Like this is dope, especially action horror. Like mentioning Dread says something. Period. Dread,
Yeah.
the Raid, yeah, Dread. First of all, I mean Raid, obviously. Dread went the fuck hard.
Yeah.
We're talking about the second one, right?
The Drew Goddard, Carl Urban one, right?
Yes,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that
Not
was
the Stallone one.
oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my comic actually has Rob Schneider in it. And so what I did he's like, guys, are we doing this? Yeah.
I think this is a terrible idea. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha, gotcha. So yeah,
Yeah, I'm not
I
a I'm
love
not
it,
a
man.
horror person really myself. Like, and this was more like I was playing Ghost of Tsushima and I was like,
Oh,
man, I want a samurai book. And I thought, you know what's never been done? And that was the impetus of the idea. It's like a
okay.
samurai versus vampires. But I was like, but I'm not Japanese. I wasn't trying to, inappropriately borrow too much from Japanese culture, right?
Mhm.
I want to do a whole book set in Japan with like their version, whatever kind of Japanese folklore was
Right, with
analogous to a
vampires and
vampire.
yeah,
Yeah. So I was like, how do I make this work? And that was really how I sort of created a problem I needed to solve for myself,
got you, got you,
Yeah.
got you. Um, What did the research look like going into this?
Bro, I watched a lot of uh videos. There's a channel dedicated to Kenjutsu, which is like the, Japanese sword fighting style and,
Okay.
katana stuff. I'm sure there's a more eloquent way to say that, but I've been talking a lot today. So I studied a lot of the stuff on there, like the philosophy, the movements. I watched, those, like a samurai master watches 8 fight scenes
Yeah,
from
yeah, yeah,
movies,
yeah, yeah.
to see what they call out as wrong. So there is some hopefully pretty authentic stuff in here
Okay.
regarding that. I tried to pay attention to forms and stances and things like that so that it wasn't just a guy
Nice.
swinging swords around.
Nice.
As far as, I did a ton of research into Sikhism and that faith. And what I found that was really interesting is that, like, samurai means to serve, which I knew because I've been obsessed with that shit since I was 12.
Mm. Yeah,
When we learned
samurais,
about the
ninjas,
samurai
that's
and,
what we were into.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it goes back further than that, but that was just in
Yeah.
seventh grade. We, like, did a unit on the feudal system, and I was like, oh, this is it.
Right.
Um, and I did a ton of research on that. And so Sikhism is a lot, it's about shedding the ego and being of service to others.
Okay.
So I found this really interesting dynamic for those two characters to share, where they both have this code of service, and, like, they're both warriors from these different cultures, but, like, where do they kind of come together, and what kind of interactions are they going to have, and sort of mutual respect for each other. So that was my favorite part about making that book, is like those two. But yeah, a lot of videos about castles.
Okay.
A
Okay.
lot of, like, trying to find, like, 3D models of them to figure out, like, how are, because a lot of them are just broken down now. So I had to
Right.
look at
Right.
stuff, how they were actually constructed, and research into bats to some degree, and
Okay.
all kinds of stuff. So yeah, it was
Okay.
pretty heavy. It was one of my more heavily researched books, I would say.
Did you stay kind of within the understood parameters for vampires? Did you like um play with that a little bit? You said you did some research on bats. Was there any areas with the vampires where you felt like I'm going to put a little twist on it here or something that I don't normally see?
Yeah, I approached it like, and I don't think this, I really say this. Maybe I say it in the book. I can't remember, but sometimes I'll have unspoken things that are unwritten things or whatever, that I know the logic behind it, right? Like,
Right.
and it makes sense for me, but, and maybe it'll come through, maybe it doesn't. But in my head, they are an evolutionary offshoot of man.
Okay.
So it's not like a disease necessarily. It's
Ah,
like this is like a species, right? The
right.
same way Cro-Magnon and Homo
Right.
sapien branched off from
I
each
like
other.
that.
Yeah, this is a different kind of evolution. And I kind of hint that, like, one of them is, like, who humans think was the angel Gabriel, you
Oh,
know? So that kind of stuff, where it's like, to our primitive minds back then, that's an angel.
I like it. I
So yeah,
like
I tried to
that.
play with the lore.
Oh
If I had
man.
more room, I would have really gone into it. But ultimately, it was about a certain thing, so I needed
Okay.
to,
All right. All right. All right. I love the lore. That's the lore, the mythos. If it's solid, I want in, and then I want prequels. It's easy. It's easy for me. Yeah.
yeah,
What you got me roped, I need to know everything. All right. Couple of quick questions to close this
yeah.
out. As a creator, what is your go-to soundtrack playlist when you're working on art?
That's a good question. Well, I don't know if I ever told you about this, but I spent the last better part of the last 20 years of my life, as a 25 years, as a dancer, right? Like,
Right. Yeah.
I do popping and funk styles and
Yeah.
boogaloo, offshoot of breakdancing culture.
We had a bit of that, a tiny bit of that conversation in the episode we did with Scheme, and I was like, "Wait, what?
That's right, of course. Yeah, yeah,
What's going on
exactly.
here?"
Yeah. So I met a dude at the Boys and Girls Club who was like a counselor there when I was 15, and he was like an original old school head from New York, right? Like, he grew up
Wow,
in Spanish Harlem in the 80s. So he's my Mr. Miyagi in real life. Like, he trained me, you know what I mean? Like, so
that's fire.
uh as a result, I can't listen to music while I'm working unless it's like
Because you'll start moving.
ambient. Yeah, it's done. It's a done deal. I'm not drawn anymore. Right? Like, I mean, I literally spent like my
Wow.
entire, like youth from a certain age on, like training myself to do that, right? So like I can't not.
Wow. Okay.
So
Okay.
I will listen to like original soundtracks to movies,
Yep.
like
Yep.
scores.
Yep.
I really like the one from Oblivion, that Tom
Ooh.
Cruise movie. I listen to
Okay.
that a lot. But mostly, honestly, I watch a lot of YouTube videos while
Interesting.
I work. I listen to podcasts sometimes. Like I used to listen to more. I listen to audiobooks a lot. I watch TV shows while I'm working,
Okay.
stuff that's like usually like I like cars a lot, so it'll be like a car fix 'em up show or whatever, or
Got you.
like,
Okay.
I have fantasy audiobooks. I mean, kind of a whole mix of different stuff. Whatever kind of gives me dopamine in that moment. I get
Got
on certain kicks. Sometimes I need to like learn a thing while I'm working,
you.
so I'll watch videos on how to do this, or so that I'm downloading it into my brain like Matrix style. So by the time I
Yeah.
actually try to do it, like
You
I've got the
hop on
info,
it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's fine.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I definitely share that love for film scores as well. I'm going to add Oblivion to
Yeah.
my list. Go-to for me is always going to be, Tron Legacy.
I was about to say Tron Legacy. That's
Tron
another one I
Legacy
listen
is
to.
just
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
come the fuck on, me. That
Yeah.
Tenet, um,
Ooh,
any of
Tenet's a
the
good one.
any of the
Yeah.
scores from Chris Nolan's Batman, that run. Um, and then I added something before all of that. It was I started with Sherlock Holmes, the Guy Ritchie ones.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I started with those scores initially, and then just got more expansive. But yeah, I'm gonna add Oblivion to that list.
It's a
Yeah,
good one, man. There's
yeah.
some nice driving, like dun-dun-dun-dun-dun, almost
Hmm.
Zimmer-esque type of
Love it.
stuff that makes you feel kind of like
Love it.
inspired. I
Yeah.
actually really like the Man of Steel soundtrack too. Like I
Yes,
think the
yes,
Zimmer score
yes.
and that's
Those
really
shits are
good.
fire, yo. Yeah, some of
Yeah,
that
and
shit was fire.
yeah, and it wasn't the John Williams theme, right? And
Hmm.
so it took some getting used to. And once I had distance from it, I would start to hear it and I'd be like, "Oh, this is like iconic now to me."
Yeah.
You
Hells yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Inception's another one.
Yes.
And I forgot there was another one that just popped in my head. I'll come back. Okay. If you had to draw one character for the rest of your career, who would it be?
I mean, I think the easy answer on that is
Yeah.
Superman, which you
Yeah.
probably knew, but I'm working on my own original thing right now,
Mm.
that I'm like starting to do concept sketches of, and I'm writing the script, and that's what I'm really excited about. And I think that's probably one that I'm going to want to do for a really long time. Like, I
Okay.
want this to be my like Hellboy or my Invincible, where it's like,
Okay.
and it's not a
Okay.
superhero thing, but it is extra normal to a
Okay.
degree, and so and it's a kind of a personal thing to me. So yeah, I think that's probably going to be the answer, but for now, yeah.
Okay. We need more of the extra normal characters, especially in
Yeah.
times like this. You need something that's just yeah, yeah. It feels a little bit more relatable. That can help you champion through tough times. So yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So of course, Superman. What's your favorite Superman story of all time?
I think Superman's Secret Identity, which is actually an
Mm.
Elseworlds book, but it is about a kid in our world named Clark Kent, and he gets made fun of, and people give him Superman gifts all the time, right?
Oh shit.
And yeah, it's a whole thing. And then and he's from Kansas, and like he's really like annoyed and resentful about that. And then at some point, he wakes up with Superman's powers,
What?
and that's all the explanation you get. And so then it's about him, and he's dark hair, blue eyes, like he looks like Superman, but not
Right.
so much so that it's like, it'd be kind of like if David Cornswet woke up one day, and just had the
Got
powers,
you.
right? So it's just about his life and
Wow.
navigating like the government trying to come after him and getting married and having kids. And they have twins in that book, and that's where they got the
Oh
idea for
wow.
Superman and Lois.
Okay.
That book has been very influential in all of the adaptation stuff we've seen. They just never pull the right stuff out of it.
Mm.
um, but that one it's written by a guy named Kurt Busiek, who's very storied comic book writer, and it's drawn by Stuart Immonen, who's one of the finest artists to ever work in the medium.
Nice.
and it's just beautifully drawn. And I have several copies of it because the original one I had is all dog-eared and just dirty, so I used to carry it around all the time, reading it all the time. So yeah, that's got to be the one.
I gotta check that out. Last question for someone being brand new, newly introduced to your work. Where would you want them to start? What book?
I think Count.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Count is that's me taking a really big swing of, it's my sci-fi reinterpretation of the Count of Monte Cristo, right?
Right.
So I take this very, beloved framework and I put my own spin on it with my own sensibilities, filled with the stuff that I think is cool, you know.
Okay.
But it's also a story about like revenge, but also redemption and revolution. It's about
Gotcha.
being the whole thing is about making it count, making yourself count, making your chances count, right? So I tried to really make it a story that was kind of uplifting and, about like making it count for something.
Yeah.
So I would hope that that's the one people check out for sure.
All
And then
right.
Sin, because it's a nice, easy, if you like
Get
that
right
one, there's
into it.
more.
You'll love
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
All right.
And you
Okay.
can
All
read them in
right.
any order too, which is the cool thing about it. Like it's a standalone, but it's connected.
I still have to grab Sin. I think I don't know how I missed Sin, but I still got to grab Sin. I'm going to double check. I do have a habit of buying books I've already bought. So
It's very easy to do.
yes. And then I have like a whole other box of my doubles that I give to like my nephews and shit. So okay, all right. I'm gonna double check to see if I have Sin. If I don't have, I'm gonna grab that.
I appreciate
Ibrahim,
it, man. Thank
dude,
you.
thank you so much, man, for carving out time to get this done. Like for
Of
real.
course.
Uh,
Always a pleasure, man. We've
yes.
been we've been talking about this for a couple
Ever.
months now, so I'm glad we
Yeah.
finally, thank you for having me on, sharing your platform, finding the time, I
Hell's
appreciate
yeah.
it.
Hell's yeah. Hell's yeah. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. Hopefully, are you? So you already said you're not into horror, and I want to be clear. If you haven't heard anything about Alien Earth, my guy, that's a fucking horror. It's a horror
Is
for
it?
sure. Yeah.
I'm down. I recently watched the first one for the first time like a year or two
Oh,
ago.
okay.
So I'm primed. I think I
Yeah.
could I could jump into it. Yeah.
This series is incredible. Really, really impressed. Aliens, Predators, that whole Prometheus, all of that shit. I'm in. I love all of that shit. I can also recognize when there's terrible ones in there, which there are. But
Yeah.
Alien Earth nailed it. And
Okay.
me and my brothers have been watching it. We, got in the text thread. And my youngest brother, he was like closest to me as far as staying on top of the episodes. And when episode 5 happened, I texted the thread. I'm like, yo, that whole fucking episode is nightmare fuel. I'm letting you know now. Like, I love horror. There was definitely moments where I'm on the couch like, oh, I can't believe this is fucking happening right now.
Okay. All
Why
right.
is why would you do this? Like, yeah, this shit's incredible. So looking forward to that. Hopefully, be able to hop on that episode and
People
then
keep telling me about it. I'm gonna have to check it out. Yeah.
yeah, and it's beautiful. It's beautifully shot. So there's that, and then yeah, we're gonna do a Peacemaker. Peacemaker season 2. We actually I haven't done an episode of Peacemaker season 1, so maybe I'll do a rewatch when season 2 is done, and then we'll do a season 2. But yeah, definitely looking forward to the next time to have you on, sir.
I appreciate it, man. I'm glad we got to full circle of this. I just wish Andre was here. He's
I
our
know.
yeah.
All right, Dre, you've been missed.
Yeah.
Peace. Hey, you're still here. That's what's up. Thanks for listening. We really appreciate every single listen we get. Be sure to subscribe and follow us on all social media. You can listen to us on the platform of your choice. We are there. And if you're so inclined, please rate the show and write a review. We appreciate all types of feedback from any of our listeners. All right, catch you on the next one. Peace.